The vast majority of numbers you see on the internet aren't real. The accounts that you interact with, the posts that you see, oftentimes aren't even made by a human being on the other side of the keyboard. The cyberspace is dominated by bots. And unless you've just woken up from a coma, this isn't news to you. Everybody knows that now. It's an accepted part of cruising the World Wide Web that the shit you see is artificially inflated. And it's become a huge yapping point, a massive topic, specifically dead internet theory, and diving even deeper into the minutia of bots. Cannonballing into the deep end of the pool, you will find viewbots, a topic that often gets very aggressive and accusatory because it is so prevalent across streams, in particular on Twitch, on YouTube, on Kick. Streamers of all shapes and sizes are often using viewbots to boost their numbers. It's not some big conspiracy, it's not deep state propaganda or anything like that. It is a provable, real thing that platforms just don't seem to be taking any real action on at all. I could right now go live on Twitch openly stating I'm viewbotting it out the wazoo to fucking 20k viewers, and maybe the worst that would happen is I get like a 24-hour suspension from Twitch. They don't care. They made that push like a year ago about getting bots off the platform, but that lasted for what, 2 fucking days? And then they took like a catastrophic hit to their overall viewer metrics, and I guess they pumped the brakes because at the end of the day, and this is something people say a lot, and it is true, those huge numbers are good for Twitch as well to advertisers, even if the numbers are fake, even if they know it's botted, phony baloney, fraudulent viewer metrics. It doesn't matter. It makes them more appealing to brands. So it seems like they are very hands-off when it comes to doling out big punishment for viewbots. It's not exactly a well-kept secret. It's pretty out there in the open that tons of streamers viewbot. Now, the reason why I'm yapping about it again is because just yesterday, or maybe it was even earlier today, I don't know, time moves in a weird fucking fashion once you hit your 30s. Everything blends together, your bones fucking creak anytime you walk up or down stairs. Anyway, though, I'll stop bitching and whining about that. I know you're not here to listen to me play a sad song on the world's smallest violin about my deteriorating cartilage. The CEO of Night Media, Reed, came forward with a post out of nowhere saying that it's time to start viewbotting. That's the title of the post, which is a eye-catching title, no doubt. Very seldom will you hear someone in that kind of position just say the quiet part out loud here about success in the streaming space. And make no mistake, Night Media is fucking huge. They are one of the top dogs in the YouTuber streamer agency space. They are huge in the industry. They represented Mr. Beast for a while. I don't know if they still do, but they have represented and still actively represent massive creators. So it was certainly interesting to see him with a post like this that makes it seem like he's out there saying, everyone's got a viewbot, we got to open Pandora's box. If you're not pooping, you're farting. If you're not using viewbots, you're at a disadvantage. Wake the fuck up, samurai. Time to get viewbots on the horn. But reading the post, it's a little bit different, though ultimately his tone around viewbots does seem to be somewhat positive. What does it take to cut through all the noise on the internet? If everyone else is botting, why shouldn't you? We used to live in a world where if you made great content, algorithms would find an audience for your videos. Now, creators have to clip farm, pay clippers, and sometimes even viewbot to have a better chance of capturing more attention and breaking through the noise. This is especially true on platforms like Twitch, where viewbotting can surface you on the front page of popular streaming categories. Off rip, this is some turbo doomer shit because it kind of positions it as like your only option if you're just getting started. Oh, there used to be a time where if you made great content, you could get found, but those times are way behind us in the shitter now. It's gone. That's an era long forgotten, like the saber-toothed tiger. Now, if you want to cut through the noise, you gotta clip farm, pay clippers, or Lord help us, even viewbot. You gotta get down and dirty in the pig pen. It's the only way. When that's not true. You can still make great content and get found. It does happen. I think the best example of that is Queso. I would be shocked to learn Queso viewbotted at any point in his life. I don't even think the guy could find a viewbot website or provider. I genuinely don't think he would even know where to begin with something like that. And he has blown up solely because he makes good content. He cut through the noise. And this is something I've always said, luck is a huge part of it. It is. It just is. But what he is right about is that in the current day and age, there is an alternative that doesn't rely as much on RNG, and that is pay to win. You can stand a better chance of standing out in the oversaturation of content creation by paying for view bots to float your stream to the top of categories, or pay for view bots on other socials where you're spamming clips from your streams so you could boost up numbers on, you know, a wacky moment or something and have it like explode elsewhere because you inflated the numbers through view bots, so then people could find your stream and maybe organically grow it that way, but you still view botted in order to boost a clip that led people to the stream. Like, there are paths that don't rely as much on luck, because if you just have money to start and just start buying views, it does help put you in front of more eyes. It's something that's very common, especially on Twitter. But at the end of the day, I just don't like this mentality that Reed kind of encapsulates here of, well, everyone else is cheating, so I should too. And he's trying to make like a strong argument that everyone else is doing it. Content alone, it could be the most slapping, banging content ever. It's not good enough. It's all about the distribution method now, which is dominated through bots and shit like that. So really, you got to think about this strategy of using bots. I just don't like how he's positioning bots as a strategy instead of calling it what it really is, which is cheating. Like, yes, you can gamify the distribution and shit through bots. Everyone fucking knows that. But I just don't think it's something that should be outwardly encouraged. And it's really weird that the CEO of Night Media, one of the biggest agencies in the space, especially for streamers, is having this kind of viewpoint. Like, his title isn't exactly indicative of his thoughts, because he does say, like, this is a problem, this is an exploit, but he speaks about it like, this exploit exists, so you have to use this now. It's like, you really should, like, almost that it's a necessity. And I just don't like that perspective, nor that mentality. I just think there's a reason why this topic on viewbots is always so passionate from so many people, because viewbots fucking suck. Nobody likes that. It is just a completely dog shit norm right now. And I don't think it needs to be even more normalized. But it's not some requirement or anything like that. Reed then goes on to make a mention of advertisers and viewbots. Do advertisers have any way of tracking botted engagement, and why isn't Twitch cracking down on this at all? Those are two really good questions. The answer to do advertisers have a way of tracking botted engagement is a big nobody fucking knows. My gut tells me there's no way advertisers would have any clue, because how would they? How would they distinguish between authentic and real viewers through just a number plastered on a stream? It'd be entirely on Twitch to take care of the bots and get that number to be where it's like the authentic viewers and not just like, you know, fraudulent ones. I don't see how they could ever possibly know what's real and what's fake based on just the publicly available information, and I doubt Twitch is behind the scenes saying, okay, so your advertisement was played in front of 1 million concurrent viewers over the course of this campaign. Of that, about 15K were real human beings. We really appreciate your business. Like, I highly doubt that fucking happens, right? Like, it doesn't happen on a streamer basis with sponsors either. So, like, if a streamer is botting his stream up to, like, 5K, but really he only has, like, 1,000 real viewers there, and he works with a brand, and he sells to this brand at the 5K concurrent viewers, he's making a lot of extra money versus if he sold at his real 1K, and now the brand gets put in front of what they believe is 5,000 people, but is actually 4,000 bots with only 1,000 real people there. So maybe the campaign only sees them make like 3 fucking sales. Like, man, Perry Poutine Gotcha Game only got 3 clicks through this guy's stream, even though he has 5K concurrent viewers. What's going on here? And then you can maybe speculate and surmise that, okay, he's botting. But then you'd also never really know for sure, because you could also say like, okay, maybe his community's just not interested in this gotcha game. These brands, I don't think have any idea, is the point I'm making. I don't see how they would. It's entirely on Twitch to combat the bots, and I don't think there's a way or a tool that these brands have access to that normal people don't, that lets them see real versus fake viewers. And then to Reed's second question about why does Twitch not crack down on it, I think everyone knows, because Twitch also benefits from these hugely inflated numbers. They see a lot of upside to these massive numbers being housed on Twitch. I think that's pretty clear. Probably don't need to dive any deeper on that. And it is something that he starts to tackle in his next section here about platforms needing to take action. He goes on to talk about, how prevalent the botting problem is, as well as the reluctance from platforms to act on it, believing that the more views there are, the better things look for advertisers, which many people agree with. And again, that probably is the simple truth of it. If these numbers are huge, the platforms are probably very happy because then it's more appealing to advertisers. It could end up with more money to the platform itself. I think it really is that simple. Now, it's this section that ties directly into the eye-catching title that he used here for this piece. If everyone else is doing it, should you? I would never explicitly say you should bot your views on Twitch, other than in the title of this article. But the reality is, if you're not view botting and everyone else is, you're at a disadvantage. When you're competing in a category where you're buried if you don't have 500 plus viewers, maybe shifting your strategy to paying clippers and buying bots helps a streamer break through. I wanted to see what it would cost to bot a stream, and for $180 a week on ViewBotter, I can get 1,500 followers, 225 chatters, and 750 concurrent viewers. Not bad for less than $800 a month, and these companies accept crypto payments. So he's saying that he's not actively advocating for view botting your channel, but if you're not, well, you got your own dick in your butt. Like, everyone around you is doing it. Maybe you should shift your strategy. I don't know. To me, that feels like he is advocating for it. Maybe I'm on the crack pipe. He's pointing out a real problem, that these platforms don't enforce it, so the precedent has been set that there's no actual consequences. But it does seem like he's saying, you really should view bot your streams if you want to succeed. And he does prop it up as a legitimate strategy and even insinuates that it's not like super expensive, saying, not bad for less than $800 a month. Look at this huge head start you can get. Really should be something to consider. And I get it. It is something that people obviously consider and pull the trigger on, no doubt. But it's not exactly something that I think should be encouraged either. It sucks. It is a bad practice. And there's a reason why this is such a big topic, because people don't like view botters. It's not something that I think should be talked about in a manner that feels like it's positive and encouraging, and even setting it up as maybe even your only option if you want to stand out, because as Reed said multiple times, good content isn't good enough. You got to really consider distribution, and distribution view bots can really do wonders for. I don't know. To me, it just rubs me the wrong way. He then closes by talking about view bot detection and how Twitch CEO mentioned it's a game of cat and mouse, and that really there's not a whole lot of great information that he could find on how brands can detect view bots or anything like that. And then he finishes the big takeaway. We've entered an era where good content alone isn't enough, distribution tactics are. When clipping, paid amplification, and even bots can artificially push you up the rankings, the playing field starts to tilt toward whoever is willing to game it. Twitch's detection tools feel reactive at best, and advertisers don't seem to have a reliable way to verify what's real. If botting becomes normalized, creators face a brutal question. Compete clean and risk invisibility, or bend the rules to survive. Long term, though, this erodes trust in the entire ecosystem. Again, he drives that point home about good content alone isn't enough. It's all about distribution tactics, and I just firmly disagree. Good content alone is sometimes enough. But again, it does take luck. It does. It always has, and it always will. Distribution tactics, though, he's right, can be gamified and boost your shit and immediately give you a better chance, so you're not overly reliant on luck. If you'd rather focus instead on pay-to-win mechanics through clippers and viewbots and stuff like that, then you would be entering the Thunderdome competing head-to-head, toe-to-toe with countless others who are doing that daily. That is very, very common. And in many, many cases, it's hard to tell if it's real or fake. So it is a legitimate problem, and it sucks that platforms don't do anything about it. He's not wrong about the core, that there is a huge problem because these platforms don't crack down on viewbots. Now everyone fucking does it seems. And it fucking blows. And I imagine he's right that it is a very real consideration for tons of streamers. Well, why would I even bother trying to do this legitimately when everyone else is fucking cheating? Everyone else is viewbotting, so why wouldn't I? And it's hard to argue, because it's morally correct to, play fair. It would be hard to make someone be okay, then I'll do that and go nowhere unless I get fucking crazy lucky. When the alternative is apparently, cheap view bots that give them a better chance. It's something that he's not wrong about in his assessment here. Again, I just find it weird that it feels like he's speaking on it like almost positively, like you're at a huge disadvantage, you really need to think about this strategy that actually isn't all that expensive if you want to compete on an even playing field. Because at the end of the day, I don't think viewbots are something that should be encouraged. I don't think it should be twisted to the point where people consider viewbots like a strategy as opposed to just cheating. Because viewbots are bad for everyone. There's a reason why it's such a passionate topic for so many people. Because it sucks. It sucks for the people that aren't doing it, and it sucks for viewers too. Like, viewbots are just shitty overall, like genuinely. So like, it's not something that I'd like to see more people start being like, yeah, let's start really thinking about doing more viewbotting, as if there's not already enough. So anyway, this was a very interesting post, to say the least, and I just wanted to yap about it. That's really about it. See ya. If you could only see the world through my eyes, you'd be looking most people in their chest. But I'm going to show you a little something that these eyes have seen today. It's a pretty chaotic video with a woman and a man she was with. Could be husband, could be Tinder date, who really knows? Could be a complete stranger who was trying to impress her. No telling. But they were at an event, and she hit the sauce a little bit too hard, had a little overdose on the fun potion, a little bit of glug 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 glug, oh Reggie, and started throwing hands with the staff, and it does not end well with her. This story is not a happily ever after for her life.
Alright, the manager! Alright, he's just fucking harassing me. Yeah, he's on a distraction.
Please leave.
Tell me one more time. Did you touch me?
I did not touch you.
Oh, he's a liar.
So the background here is she's a little too drunk and she's starting to hallucinate. She is now accusing someone of harassing her, which apparently did not happen. The guy's even saying that didn't happen. She's got her phone out to record her POV, so you already know she's fucking delusional. It is crazy, astonishing, just how often people that are making complete fools of themselves, just absolute clowns, will be the ones to take out their phone and start recording it as if they're in the right, thinking people will be on their side. So she's got her own POV. Well, it's not even really her POV because she's holding it like up here. It's probably looking like straight at the ground, but she's just off her gourd right now. According to a bartender that was at the center of this fucking pandemonium, couple came in at around 9 p.m. and immediately there were concerns raised about how intoxicated they were. The night was quite chaotic. The couple came in, they were requesting dinner service. Initially, the server verbalized to me that she could tell that her table was not only intoxicated, but perhaps on some other substances, and they were giving her quite a rough time and being quite verbally abrasive with her. Then I do believe after that, the server asked for the manager to intervene. So the manager got summoned to the battlefield here. He enters the rift, runs it down mid, basically just saying, get the fuck out of here, takes their cocktails away, asks them to leave. And when he brought the cocktails back to staff, he said they had enough to drink, we shouldn't serve them anymore. And that's what led to this intense spiral you're about to see from that couple. She tries to slap the phone out of someone that was filming her, which is odd because she wasn't exactly shy about filming this herself, but I guess she doesn't like the angle that that stranger was catching her at. I don't really know what the thought process was there. Obviously not a whole lot of thoughts going on in there in the first place. Right now it's just her seeing red and on a rampage. Right now she is just like in Kratos Spartan mode, but she's super drunk, so she's throwing wet noodles instead of knuckle sandwiches. And she gets physical with one of the staff back there, and the boyfriend's trying to like separate her from them. And as he is doing that, she then aggroes somebody else there trying to attack them, and they were not playing games. This was not Weenie Hut Jr. anymore, so she actually got hip tossed. You can see the staff pick her up, well, not fully pick her up, but take her and throw her down straight to the floor, and you hear a big thud. She just got potato sacked. It was almost like a perfect little hip toss there, and she was too drunk to really feel the impact, but I know that shit hurt the next morning. She probably felt like she got hit by 5 different fucking freight trains.
Get out the way. Get out the way. Let's go.
Ya está. No pooping.
Now the goober she's with is trying to get involved, so he's starting to get physical with the staff. You can see him kind of like loosely shoving them a little bit, kind of bumping and grinding on them more than anything. And eventually they both get dragged out of the establishment. The guy was getting absolutely manhandled. He tried to get physical and then ended up just getting like fucking little broed here to headlock. And then she gets taken out in like a pseudo full Nelson and people are cheering for them getting thrown out. That's how you know you are in the wrong. That's how you know you are a giant asshole, when people are applauding your exit. So they get forced out of the establishment here, but that's not where this is curtains. It doesn't wrap up there. It only escalates because these two are now even more upset and even more combative.
Let go! Let go! Let go! Let go! Let go! No, let go right now, please.
You want me like this?
Yes, please let go.
Oh, you want me like this?
Please let go. Please let go.
I'm not touching your boy.
Okay, stop.
No, you got me
Stop.
stop.
No.
Hey.
There's a lot to unpack here. There's quite a bit to digest. So they have now been forcibly removed from the premises because they were obviously disruptive, violent, aggressive, combative. They're now outside and she grabs a fistful of hair, refusing to let go. She has got it firmly grasped here like SpongeBob. And as she does that, her boyfriend, or whatever goofball she's with there, whatever his relationship is to her, he is now gripping onto her like this, yanking her back as he is getting pulled back by somebody else. So it's almost like that stereotypical scene in a movie where like someone falls and like 5 people grab each other's arms trying to catch them. It is that, except people desperately trying to get these two fucking colossal losers to get out of there. And unfortunately, it's still just not enough. She is a force of nature fueled by pure alcohol in her veins. She's still going Insano style, and this time she's breaking free. She's going off the fucking leash here. It's sicko mode now. Because the employee whose hair was being grabbed her phone, saying, she wraps my hair around her hand and just pulls on it for dear life. It was quite painful, and that she only let go when he took her phone out of her hands and threw the phone to distract her to get her away from the restaurant. Like throwing a bone at a dog that's attacking you. So that's exactly what happens. He threw the phone, and immediately she's like going right after it, so charging back towards them. And so she got tripped, and my God, it's like all the momentum stopped. Not like she was, really breaking any land speed records for her 40-yard dash or anything. She was kind of drunkenly waddling over there, but when she was running and got tripped, it was textbook form, and then she just drops like an anvil. Like a piano being dropped in a cartoon. She just hits the ground so hard instantly and starts calling the wambulance. She starts immediately crying in a Peter Griffin death pose.
Guys. No, stop. Hey.
So now that she's been kind of decommissioned here, too many boo-boos for her to continue, she now starts insulting the guy she's with, saying, be a fucking man, trying to goad him into getting his ass kicked as well for a biblical smackdown that would have been placed upon his soul. She's just like, be a fucking man! Do something! And you can just kind of see the gears turning in his noodle. You can kind of almost hear his heart breaking, like, oh no, if I don't do something, she's gonna break up with me. But if I do something, I'm going to be broken in half. What a conundrum, no! And then he eventually just decides, fuck it, we'll do it live. So he shoves the guy in the Santa hat, who is much larger than he is. It's a mismatch. He has to know that right there. That's David versus Goliath, but David's a big fucking douchebag here. He has no chance. But he goes for it. Smoke him if you got him, you know? So, no fucking ZD now? So he pushes the guy in the Santa hat, and I swear to God, there might be a longer cut of this, but I bet that guy in the Santa hat could have picked him up like Bane to Batman and broken him over his knee. Like, he had no chance there. But that girl, she was whispering the siren song in his ear, and by whispering I mean shouting drunkenly, fucking trying her best to make sure he is also bruised, bloodied, and broken. Now that's where the video ends, but the story just keeps on going. This is the holiday gift that keeps on giving here for everyone that's not her and that guy she was with. So apparently after the dust settled and everything, the San Francisco Police Department took her in. This was a very popular clip, so much so that her employer caught wind of this. Her name is Shireen Afkari, and she worked for a popular fitness tracking app named Strava, where she was a senior manager of growth marketing and retention, and has now been released from the company. They made a statement on Instagram saying, "We are aware of an employee who exhibited extremely concerning off-hours behavior. We don't condone violence of any kind, and this does not reflect the standards we expect of our team. This past Monday, we made the decision to end the individual's employment." No word on anything in regards to the guy she was with. I imagine in the director's cut of this footage, if there's a longer version of it, he probably learned his lesson after he tried to pick that fight with the Santa hat guy at the behest of his sweet milady fedora tip. An unsurprising conclusion there. She really did go pretty hard, but you know, surely it was worth it. I bet that was an unforgettable night out that she can't remember at all. Little too hard on the old eggnog this holiday season, I think, for Miss Shireen there. Yikes. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya. I got no wacky intro for you on this one. We're going to be covering a degenerate scumbag streamer who appears to have beat his wife on stream. And now, since it's blown up, he's trying to use a Jedi mind trick to convince everyone that their eyes were wrong. That you had a malfunction in your vision, because he didn't beat his girlfriend. He only pushed her, actually. Your eyes are wrong. You didn't see what you thought you saw, is his strategy. But how about I show you the clip first, and then we'll go ahead and digest that a bit.
Okay, take these off. Take the lids off. Chill. You need to have no drinks in here. Ow! Ow! What is drinking?
It was in here. It was on this. I don't even know how. I turned around and...
Calm down.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Turn your thing off and turn the fan off.
Yeah, it looks like he strikes his girlfriend. Who pushes someone with a closed fist? You can see on that first time he brings his arm back, he has it balled up. You can very briefly see like a frame of what looks like a closed fist. Who is pushing someone like that? And also, she responds to the very loud noise that sounds like a hit by saying ow. She says ow twice, both times after he thrusts his arm forward towards her. So if it wasn't a punch, it was a slap. Either way, he is striking his wife. Like, he's trying to claim that it was just a push, which, by the way, is also a really fucking weird defense, too. So, like, no, I don't hit my wife, but I push the fuck out of her, actually. I push her so hard that she says ow multiple times. Whoa, guys. Let's pump the brakes. Hold your horses. I don't hit my pregnant wife. That's uncivilized. I just push the fuck out of her until it hurts. I cause her physical pain through pushing, not through punching. I use open hand palm strikes in a pushing fashion like a monk. That's what I do. And that's normal. You guys, you're blowing this way out of proportion. It's fucking disgusting, this freak. And now all of this is over him spilling a drink on his setup and him like panicking and throwing a temper tantrum over it. His wife came in to like try and help, and then she's over in the corner, and then you can see him lunge at her twice, throwing his arm at her twice in what appears to be a punch or a slap. Either way, it is a strike. That is not him pushing her, and even if it is him pushing her, it clearly hurt. He caused her pain. You can hear the impact. Like, you can't talk your way out of that. You can see and hear this through the clips. But here, let's do a little zoomed in version where you can really more clearly see and hear everything.
Okay, take these off. Take the lids off. You need to have no drinks in here. Ow. Ow.
I think it's pretty obvious. Now, I'll go ahead and show you his response to it, where he tries his best to convince everyone that they're wrong and he doesn't hit his wife in the face, specifically, is what he clarified. He doesn't hit her in the face. And that what actually happened is that he pushed her. And actually, he pushed her to save her life, actually, because her fingers were caught under the PC, and it was that's what was hurting her. That's what was making her say, ow. And him being so brave and courageous, he pushed her twice, just like that, in order to, you know, keep her safe. His pregnant wife, by the way.
They're saying, like, the grunts make it look bad, like the way I was grunting. Brother, I promise you, brother, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's literally like, no, I grunted in that. I mean, I grunted, but I wasn't hitting her, bro. I pushed her. That's the only thing that I did. I didn't fucking hit her. I would never hit her on her face, bro. That's fucking crazy. She was not crying afterwards. What the hell, bro? She literally was like, she was not crying. She just literally said, turn the fucking thing off. Bro, what I was saying is, if I hit her, she would have been like, yo, what the fuck? Why'd you do that for? What'd you hit me for? It wasn't one push. It was one push, bro. It was literally like...
It's so fucking ridiculous. Like, what he's trying to pull here, it relies solely on people being dumb enough, delusional enough, or just genuinely not caring enough to form their own thoughts on what they can see and hear in the clip, and will instead just take his word for it. The word of an embarrassing cringe fungus that can't stop raging anytime anything happens to him in his goddamn Call of Duty game. This guy flips out constantly, and then he starts becoming Donnie from the Wild Thornberries, and then like going crazy and just like punching and throwing and destroying things around his room. He has so many fucking rage moments, and in one of them, he even like charges at his wife again. But in that instance, he doesn't appear to hit her. Instead, he just like body bumps her, going for like some kind of like chest bump on her as she tries to check on him to make sure that he's still okay and hasn't given himself some kind of fucking aneurysm or blown a gasket.
You fucking stupid! Oh my god, you just got me banned! 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 You just got me banned!
Stop.
You got me banned! You just got
Stop.
You just got me banned! You just got me banned, dog! You just got me fucking banned!
Stop. Your shit. You're gonna ruin your...
I don't care. I don't give a fuck anymore. You just got me banned. You just got me fucking banned. You just got me banned.
There are just so many clips just like this one of this fucking loser. It became his shtick. Like, I'm pretty sure he tried to make this his whole brand image. I can find clips just like this going back to 2024. He is always just freaking out constantly because he is just a maniac, like an actual lunatic person who needs to be institutionalized.
I swear to fucking God. You think I'm not? You think I'm not? You think I'm not? You think I'm... And I just spilled it. Of course. The 5 seconds I gotta clean up. There's a... Please, on God. On God, on God. I don't know where my remote went. I don't know where my remote went. Bro. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God, bro. What do? Chat, please help me, bro. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what the fuck.
He's literally SpongeBob with the ripped pants. This is his one joke. I hesitate to call it that because he actually does just have this level of disorder where he can't control himself. He is just always having violent outbursts, but he tries to use it for his content on TikTok. Like, that's his whole image there, is he's the psychopath guy who's just always fucking angry, it seems. What a complete pathetic loser. How do you even look yourself in the mirror? The shamelessness, man. Like, how? You're just such a fucking weirdo. Now, he does seem to have made a habit out of constantly spilling his drink on his desk because he's always hitting it and freaking out. That kind of thing, always for the sake of his clips on TikTok. But in the one where he starts hitting his girlfriend, or excuse me, his pregnant wife, it seems like he didn't anticipate the drink to spill on his computer and actually cause a problem. So from what I understand, it did actually get in there and cause an issue on his PC, which is why he was freaking out even more so than usual, and then got physical with his wife. Now, to really seal the deal, Jordan Cisco here had a galaxy brain scheme of bringing his wife on stream to defend him and trying to really showcase everything that happened, you know, giving his side of things to make sure everyone understands the truth of the situation. And his wife seems to have a bruise around her eye. That's what it looks like.
I want to see what he says, Jeff.
I'm literally like hyperventilating and shit. And then I come in here, and then she comes in running after me. Then I pick up the PC. I put it on top of that PC. You see that PC right there? I put it on top of that PC. All right, you understand? Let me put it in context, bro. So when she's standing there, I'm putting the PC on right here. Hold on, let me see. Wife, can you come and record this, please? Wifey? By the way, I just wanted before I'm talking about come here. Before I'm talking about everything else, like if I ever did hit her, which is insane, I would never hit my wife, and she's pregnant. She would have.
It looks like you can see like the fucking mark in her face from where he fucking apparently hit her, you know? Looks like she's got a fucking black eye.
Have stuff on her face. I mean, you could.
So you guys can look here.
Literally see, like
I have shorts on.
It really does look like that. And his explanation here of, I was stacking the PC on the other PC like Lincoln Logs. You see, that's what was happening here. And then my wife came in and I needed help, and then her fingers got caught under there, so I had to start pushing her, you know, in order to protect her. And she was saying, ow, like it was hurting her because her fingers are under the PC and it's really heavy. It's like tungsten. It's like a tungsten block. Very dense. Fucking 10,000 pounds on her fingers. I had to start just striking at her face to push her off of there.
And I basically, with the cords attached, I was trying to pick up this PC like this, Jack, and I was putting it on this PC. You understand? On this PC that I just had. Nobody saw anything. Like, it was insane. This. Laid it flat like this. Then it got on her fingers. You saw it. It was in the corner of the screen. By the way, nobody saw anything. Like, it was insane. Man saw me use one arm motion and thought I hit her. Like, it's insane.
Listen to his story channel. I'll show you the clip. Hold on.
She had her fingers right here. And she literally, that's when she was like, she couldn't get it on the PC. So I pushed her, and she literally was saying ow because of the fucking shit was on her fingers. It was literally on her fingers. This is like I don't know how much it weighs, but it was on her fucking fingers like this.
The story doesn't make any sense. She wasn't saying ow until you threw your arm towards her, man. And you're saying you only pushed her once, but you can see your arm go towards her twice, and she says ow both times. If the pain was caused by the PC on her fingers, she would have been saying ow or expressing discomfort before you started thrusting your arm towards her, you wife-beating freak. You fucking scumbag. And every sensible, sane person on the planet is calling him out on that obvious lie there. There are no other explanations for what happened here because his official story doesn't pass the smell test. If the pain was caused by her fingers being under the PC, why was she not saying anything like ow until you started doing this at her? And he's saying he only pushed her once, but you can see 2 thrusts towards her. So what, did the second one not happen? That just doesn't exist? He's just rewriting the lore there, just trying to hope that you didn't watch the clip yourself? It's just ridiculous, man.
I'm not, I swear on my life, on my soul, I'm not an abuser. We are in a happy relationship, a very happy, we're literally married, and we've been together for 5 years. Trust me, if there was something up, our whole family would know about it. I'm telling you.
You can hear her
Chad,
saying
please.
ow, ow.
I'm telling you, we are in such a happy relationship. She's going to be talking by herself, by the way. I'm going to be out of the room because I don't want y'all to think I'm being like that.
The skin contact that you guys are talking about, where you're hearing it, Jordan was so freaked out in that situation, and I love him, and I've been with him for 5 years. Like, when Jordan flips out, like, I mean, y'all have seen him many, many times. I mean, if he punched me, I mean, it would be very obvious. I'm very pale. It'd be very obvious if he, like, literally hit me or something. So, her eyes.
She's not really saying that she's not saying he did it either.
What I normally look like all the time.
She goes on to say that if he hit her, it'd be very visible, and that the mark on her eye is just what her eyes normally look like. Now, I haven't seen a picture of them outside of, like, a stream setting, so I don't know if that's true or not, but it definitely does seem like a mark. But she goes on to defend him, and it's just heartbreaking. And even in the initial clip, after the very clear signs of a strike and the sound of the impact, the skin-on-skin contact, she, like, responds, you know, ow, and then, like, kind of shocked, like, you know, you can hear that. And then she goes back to talking to him as if it's normal, like it's just business as usual, like it's treatment she's used to. And it's fucking heartbreaking to hear that. And for him to then put her on stream, like, okay, she's going to talk all by herself. I'm not going to do anything. She's going to talk all by herself. Now she's going to be over here and you can ask her anything you want. She's going to talk all by herself. She's going to be on the... And then she sits there to, like, defend, like, oh, no, you know, it's all good. It's just very sad and scary. I just had to yap about this. I'm wishing the absolute best for her and the baby. I really hope she finds a way out of this relationship. I think the evidence is pretty clear that there was definitely a impact that caused pain. If not a punch, potentially a slap. I don't believe his narrative that it was a push. But even if it was just a push, why are you pushing your fucking pregnant wife? Why? Why are you putting your hands on her aggressively like that? He's saying he only pushed her once, which again is easily disprovable. It's categorically false because you can see twice he thrusts his arm towards her. So if it is a push like he claims, he did it more than he's saying he did, and it clearly was aggressive and a violent push. But I am of the belief that it was either a punch or a slap based on the sound of things. A push doesn't make that kind of sound. But I will reiterate again, if it was a push, it's still completely unacceptable to be violently shoving your pregnant wife, you gross fucking scumbag freak worm person. This whole thing has been infuriating. I really think this should constitute not only a ban, but an investigation. This should probably lead to jail time, I would think. Like they should look into it at least. I think the evidence is pretty clear, but let's see what authorities have to say. I hope there is a follow-up to this because it's just completely unacceptable. So yeah, I wanted to yap about it. That's really about it. So yeah, I was sleepy once. It was a long time ago. If you think I look tired, well, you better get your eyes checked, Buster. That's a certified WebMD diagnosable moment right there that something has gone awry with your peepers. Could a sleepy man do this? Checkmate. Point is, in my endless battle against insomnia, I happen to have stumbled across something interesting again this evening, and it pertains to last night's video about the $20 million reality TV show, Twitch streamer, fan, production, extravaganza, mansion, titties, beer, rock and roll, whatever else it was pitching itself as, called the $1 Million Fan Show. Well, I speculated that it was a big scam, and a lot of Twitch streamers had been publicly put on the website. Some had even made announcements about their endorsement of the $1 Million Fan Show, and nothing about it seemed legitimate. I'm not just going to regurgitate everything from last night's video. You can check that out if you want a deeper dive on everything that was wrong with it. But last night on stream, like 45 minutes after I posted the video, they took their website down. Then I was checking their other ancillary shit, and all of that is removed. It seems like they are scrubbing any existence of the $1 Million Fan Show from the internet. So like even the Reddit post that the livestream fail mods posted is taken down. I don't know if that was by order of the $1 Million Fan Illuminati, or if the mods that had signed an agreement with them had a come to Jesus moment that they may have been misled, so they decided to take it down. But apparently they also removed like their Discord and their socials, which is a huge blow, by the way, because the $1 Million Fan Show had like 5 Instagram followers, so really playing a sad song on the world's smallest violin now that 5 Instagram followers have been cast into oblivion, banished to the Shadow Realm. I feel like that's pretty strong evidence for my game theory that it was all a big load of hullabaloo, a bunch of hooey. I don't think a legitimate company that's putting together a $20 million grand prize reality show that is also a television program that is also employing some of the highest level production staff imaginable for a once-in-a-lifetime unforgettable experience for streamer fans. Also, their About Us section had all the telltale signs of just being AI generated, where literally every section ended with triplets where it was, you know, it's not this, it's this. performance, power, mentality, tits, mentality. Like, it's just like, it was very clearly AI generated. The fucking first thing you see on their website is an AI generated image of a mansion. The whole thing just reeked of scam. And now everything has been deleted, presumably by them. I don't think, some governing body came in to, wipe them out. I think this is them trying to cover their own ass, so that way there isn't some kind of legal action taken against them. Because from what I've read, there were actually some members of some streamer communities that put money into the $1 Million Fan Show. They bought emote packages. I read a report on someone that claims to have spent a couple $100 doing so. So I imagine there was a handful of people that did legitimately lose money on this. Now, of course, you have to take those claims with a grain of salt because there's no real evidence to back it up, especially now that everything is deleted. There's nothing to prove that. But I'm inclined to believe those statements from them because these streamers are, to a lot of people, a trustworthy source. And if they're endorsing something and they say that there's a chance that they can win $20 million or whatever the fuck through like signing up for it, they will do so. And when you go to the website and do their free sign up, they're very heavily pushing you to do the monetized sign up for unlimited entries by giving them money. So I bet a lot of them were baited into doing that. Now, as I said in the last video, I am shocked that Mythic Talent actually even floated this to their creators like Extra Emily. She, in her statement, mentioned Mythic Talent by name, that they had pitched it to her. I was surprised it made it to a streamer because anyone that even had their eyes open and neurons firing for a second would go to that website and know full well immediately, right from the jump, that this is not real, that this is fraudulent. So I did a little digging, and I was able to get in contact with an agent, not at Mythic, but at another agency that did have this exact same thing come across their desk for their streamer clients as something to pitch to them. And according to that agent, I don't know how deep into the nitty-gritty I'm allowed to get, what they sent them, the pitch deck, was extraordinarily different from what ended up making it to that website. From what I understand, and from what I have been told, they were under the impression that this was an Amazon-backed production, at least initially. And at the time of receiving this offer, they didn't have a website or anything public outside of that pitch deck, I guess, they were hawking to agencies. And it is indeed a paid promotion. The streamers that are listed there were paid for this partnership, and there was no additional information available beyond the concept of the show and the promise that Amazon was behind a historic $20 million streamer fan buttfuck hullabaloo reality TV show. Now, one of the streamers also sent me the exact offer that was presented to them, which gives further confirmation to all of this. It comes from Mythic. This is the direct offer from Mythic that this streamer received. I'm not going to show the actual thing, so that way no one gets into legal hot water here. I don't want to, step on too many Legos, but I will give you the general overview for what the pitch was, the offer. Interestingly enough, the offer came back in June of 2025 from Mythic. And the opening line was about how it's an Amazon series. This is an Amazon series looking to break records, a historic $20 million prize purse reality show. It doesn't even name the show, by the way. I'm guessing back in June of 2025, they didn't even have the name of the show or anything concrete. There was no website, no mention of like LSF or brand partners or anything like that. It was just a single sentence that said, Amazon reality TV show set to air on Amazon Prime, featuring the soon-to-be-broken Guinness World Record book for biggest prize pool in history, $20 million. Winning group splits money in half, $10 million to you and $10 million to the fan. That is the entire explanation for what this deal was. Interestingly enough, like I said, June of 2025. The deliverables were a reality TV show appearance, 1 to 7 days, depending on how far you make it, and a single social post. The initial filming date was November 3rd to November 10th, but guessing, some wires got crossed there, fucking nipple clamps came down, maybe government shutdown, put that on the back burner, so that had to put the kibosh on that and shelve it till, I guess, 2026. Anyway, though, they were offering $3,000 for the streamer involvement here, plus 20% of net ticket sales from your ticket, which the streamer expressed some confusion over because they didn't believe Mythic knew that there was like this paid entry option. But in the offer, it says they were getting 20% of net ticket sales. When you go, well, knowing now, hindsight's 2020, but like going to the website that existed, when you would sign up through a streamer portal, you were paying for those entries if you wanted to extend beyond just the free submission. So I'm thinking that the idea from this offer was that when someone, a fan of the streamer, did a paid entry through their portal, they would get a portion of that. So like I feel like Mythic would have had to have known that there was some kind of like paid component to the fans, but who knows? There's so little information here in the actual offer that Mythic took to the streamers. I am still extremely surprised it even made it to a single streamer as something to consider. I don't know why there wouldn't be more digging to confirm if this is actually even an Amazon show, because after the offer, they then go into like a general explanation for it, and it is so bare bones. It sounds like something that a person would cook up in 5 minutes while taking a shit after consuming like, their morning oats or something. There's not a whole lot of thought into this. Competition details. 1 creator, 1 fan group eliminated per day. $20 million cash prize. 1 creator, 2 fans. They will be gaming, IRL, and cognitive challenges. Think Survivor, but for creators. And then it just lays out like the most simple, boring shit ever for the competition. And then the Apocalypse Challenge on day 3, during which fans will compete head-to-head with each other, resulting in a mass elimination. Narrow the group down so each creator is ultimately paired with one of their original fans for the last 4 days. It's if you went to like a fucking Redditor and asked them to really quickly come up with a streamer game show or something. Now, as for the initial start date of November, the streamer was just told that it got pushed back to March. I don't think there was any like real explanation for what went wrong. Maybe bad weather, perhaps government shutdown, all kinds of possibilities for why it got moved. But they weren't really, kept up to date, kept abreast on everything going on here with this huge, giant Amazon show. I am even more surprised that any agency would have seen this and just shipped it as is, just said, fuck it, do it live. We'll send it out to our streamers to see if they'll accept the $3,000 offer with the 20% ticket sales split or whatever. Because, like, I feel like when you are getting this as, pitched as an Amazon production, you would probably want to confirm if this is actually coming from Amazon. Because if you're going to work at this agency managing these kind of contracts and stuff, but you're working under the impression that no one's going to tell lies on the internet, what's stopping just any old Joe Schmo Dorito dusted fingers from sending you a cold call email saying like, hey, this is me, Amazon, pitching you a $50 quadrillion reality television show. I'll offer like $3,000 with some rev split to your streamers. Do you mind taking this to them? I'd love if they start shouting out goochsweat.org soon. It's a very legitimate reality TV show. We're Amazon, by the way. And you not press that any further, because that's what it feels like. Looking at the offer, there is no actual information about like Amazon being behind this. And since this was back in June of 2025, I can understand the absence of a website a little bit more back there, because if this is like an Amazon show, they're probably not going to make the website first and foremost because they don't want to like spoil it or anything. Like, I can kind of understand that. So streamers being left in the dark on, like a website that they can access, like this website, it didn't exist according to the streamer. It just recently popped up, which according to Whois, that does appear to be the case. Even though the domain had been registered for a while, it was updated in like late December. So that's probably when it actually went live, which is when anyone could go on there and see how fraudulent it was with just a single fucking glance. So I do now understand that there were streamers that literally couldn't look up this show because the offer doesn't even have the name of the show and the website didn't exist. What I'm still confused on is like why anyone would still accept that deal. And then I start to understand a bit more that they just have trust in the agency not to be presenting them with a scam. They had trust that the Mythic talent, for example, like in Extra Emily's case, was bringing them something that was legitimate. So they're seeing like, oh, it's an Amazon show that wants to work with me and they're making this offer. Okay, this seems like a big deal. I'll sign up to that and, do the social post or whatever. Also, if you try and look up $1,000,000fan.show now, the most recent update to the site was today, because the update was just nuking it, taking it down. But prior to that, it was updated in late December, which is when I imagine this went live. So now it seems like the streamers literally didn't even have access to look up the information themselves on that website, which again, doesn't take a super sleuth, fucking pinky up internet, narwhal baconing at midnight master to see that that is a fucking disaster of a website that is clearly in a shady spot, most likely looking to scam. The streamers didn't know that site was there because the deal was all the way back in June. Though I will say, looking at the offer, this should have been something that I think streamers should have been a little weary of, because it feels like it is very odd just looking at it. But I think that does fall a bit more on the agency than it does the streamer itself, because there is a level of trust from streamers with the person that is like managing their brand deals, that what they are getting is not just fucking toilet paper that's trying to wipe their ass with their fans. And in this case, I am still just shocked that it even made it to the streamers in the first place. This should have been probably caught far earlier. I imagine they could have confirmed well beyond this, like almost a year later, that this wasn't Amazon behind it. If they had maybe set up like calls or something, or looked for any level of proof of this being Amazon, like even just questioning, where is this money coming from? Who else are we working with? What is the actual production timeline and all that looking like? I feel like there was definitely a way like Mythic Talent could have caught this and then never even had to get to this point where there were real victims, where based on what I've read, there were people that put in like hundreds of dollars, which again, I know you have to take it with a grain of salt because there's no like evidence to support those claims that people lost a ton of money, since now everything is scrubbed, but I'm inclined to believe them because the audience has a level of trust in the streamer that what they are pitching is not just a scam that's going to just rob their fucking piggy banks. So I do think that there were real victims here, and I think it was just so easily avoidable. This shit is just fucking wild that it even happened. R.I.P. $1 Million Show. Definitely feels like it was a scam from the get-go, considering they have just vanished, poofed out of existence, and erased every trace that they were ever even here to begin with. Anyway, though, that's really about it. So, yeah. This is one of the more infuriating stories I've seen in recent times. The injustice here is just unfathomable. Meet Jesse Butler. He is a rapist. Jesse is an 18-year-old that was facing 78 years in prison for heinous crimes, including 10 allegations, including rape, battery by strangulation, rape by instrumentation, and domestic assault involving 2 women. He pled no contest to these charges. The evidence is overwhelming. It is irrefutable that he is guilty of these crimes he was charged. There's photo evidence. There is even a video Jesse himself took of him strangling one of his victims till they passed out. There is more proof that Jesse Butler is guilty of all of this rape than there is proof that the sky is blue. This is not a matter of him like weaseling his way out of these charges because they were able to muddy the water or something. He literally pled no contest to them. So you would think this would be a slam dunk case to lock a monster away. I think every sane person in this country would hear this story, learn about Jesse Butler, and agree this is just pure evil and there is no reason at all he should be anywhere but behind bars. But we have to remember, not everyone is sane. And some of these people that have a fucking screw loose are also in positions of power, and in this case, a judge. A judge named Susan C. Worthington in Payne County, Oklahoma, who is just a fucking troglodyte homunculus, it seems, that decided that Jesse Butler shouldn't be going to jail for these crimes. No. Susan C. Worthington rolled up her sleeves and ultimately decided that the punishment that fits the crime in this case is a teensy tiny bit of community service with a 1-2 punch of rehab. That is the justice that Susan C. Worthington brought to the victims of this rapist. This guy will not see a prison cell. He is still going to be a free man, even after pleading no contest to these heinous, vile crimes. He is a rapist. And this judge, Susan C. Worthington, has said, that's okay. Well, it's nothing we can't fix here with a little bit of tender love and care and a bit of elbow grease with some community and service. Now, to be clear here, and keep in mind, I'm still a little, new to understanding how a lot of this shit works with my fucking Neanderthal brain here. But as I understand it, this wasn't Susan C. Worthington's proposal or anything. This was a plea deal that was reached and was put in front of Susan. She granted it. But she had the ability to reject it. A judge can reject a plea. And especially in a case like this, that would have been the right thing to do. This is a monster that under no circumstances should be afforded this kind of deal. This is someone that should not be able to weasel their way back into society. They are a danger, a menace to everyone around them. So while Susan may not have been the one to theory craft this whole community service and rehab idea, she did agree with it, ultimately, that this is the right course of action. So by granting this, to me, that is her putting her stamp of approval on it that this, in her eyes, is justice. It is fucking unhinged. I think Susan C. Worthington needs to be investigated ASAP. This is protecting a rapist. And there is a body cam of when Jesse Butler was taken into custody, and his mother is very supportive of Jesse, talking about how they're going to get him out and all of that. And it turns out Jesse's family is very well connected in Oklahoma. They have a lot of powerful friends, it seems, over there in Oklahoma.
Of both victims who came forward against Jesse, there is a third victim who, if she hasn't come forward, but can you blame her when you look at this as the justice that they get? Speculation is that Jesse Mac Butler's father is a man by the name of Mac Butler, and he was the head of football operations at OSU. So somebody with deep-rooted ties into the community, and that then leads you to the judge in this case, or one of the judges in this case, Judge Susan Worthington. Between her and her father, the Worthingtons have had a hold on that bench for over 50 years. So while you can't necessarily say definitively that, hey, there's this connection here because he's deep-rooted in football.
He goes on to say that it's not difficult mental gymnastics for people to maybe connect these dots or follow these breadcrumbs, that there might be some kind of connection there, considering that this town needs that football program. Like, OSU is a staple of it. Thus, Mac Butler, Jesse Butler's father, is a staple in the community, deep-rooted ties here, and there could be some kind of connection there with him and the Worthingtons. Again, it is something that a lot of people have speculated and taken notice of, to the point where there is now even an authority that is considering investigating this potential connection. And it is very weird how Jesse Butler has these indefensible crimes, yet is not getting any real punishment for it. Is it possible it's because of who his family is? They were very confident that he was going to get away with this. They even said in the body cam we're about to see, his mother said, you know, we're going to win this. It seems like they were really sure that these unforgivable crimes were going to be forgiven here, ultimately, in the eyes of the law in Oklahoma. I wonder if that might have played a role in him getting away without even a slap on the wrist. This isn't even a slap on the wrist, this is a slap on the ass. This is basically Susan C. Worthington and the entire legal system over there in Payne County, Oklahoma, giving him the old keister clapper saying, hey, good work out there, don't worry, we got you covered, we got your back over here in Payne County. It's fucking sickening. It is actually unbelievable. I'm going to show you the body cam real quick because I think it's important you get to see who he's surrounded by, because even though his mother is aware of these crimes, it seems like she's more concerned about her child's future. Like, the actual victim here is Jesse Butler, not the two women that he raped and all of those horrible things he did. It's actually Jesse Butler that, you know, is getting the short end of the stick here and is getting traumatized.
Yeah, so we're here. We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. I told your mom that she can contact a bondsman, and you shouldn't be there very long, but there just is a process for paperwork and stuff. But right now you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs. So turn around for me. You have to put in handcuffs?
Oh man, Jesse's calling the wambulance there. You can see him start to tear up. Oh man, it almost breaks your heart looking at him get all sad like that. And his mom, she's starting to feel it, saying, oh, do you have to put him in handcuffs? Fucking obviously, yes, lady. Of course they have to put him in handcuffs. This guy is a violent rapist. To such an extreme degree, I wouldn't have been surprised if he tried clawing at the fucking cage in the back of the police car to get his hands on one of the officers next to strangle them and rape them. This guy is an animal, an absolute fiend. He is a fucking monster. Of course they need to put him in handcuffs.
Transport somebody in custody. You know we're doing this. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll get you out. For me? Alright. Stay silent. Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers. awful experience for the child.
What she said while Jesse was walking to the police car there actually made my stomach turn. She said, "What an awful experience for a child." Lady, your son raped 2 women. Numerous times. He nearly killed one of them with the strangulation, by the way. And you're saying that him going to jail here, like in handcuffs, is the awful experience for the child? What about the victims? What do you think about that? Do you think that wasn't an awful experience? Like this is worse? Like Jesse's the one we should actually feel bad for here? I understand it must be extremely difficult to wrestle with this reality that your child is a monster. I can't even imagine what that's like. That would be soul crushing. But to wipe your ass with reality and just blindly support them to the point where you will do anything to ensure they don't actually get punished for the very real crimes they committed that you yourself are aware of. Again, this isn't a matter of like his parents believe he's innocent or something. Everybody knows he's guilty. He has even pled no contest. The evidence is irrefutable. So they know he is a rapist, and yet they have fought tooth and nail to ensure he doesn't go to jail for it. In my eyes, that makes them very bad people as well. They are knowingly ensuring a rapist is back in society. And since this punishment, I can't even use that word. That word does not apply here. That stretches the definition. This is not even a punishment. What they gave him is chores to do now. That's it. Where he does like a bit of community and service, and then he does like a rehab program. And they tried to make it seem like this was like a super strict sexual offender rehab program. I don't want to get into like the weeds of how they ended up at this ruling. I recommend you watch the Law and Crime video. They do a good job breaking it down. But basically, to my understanding, is they legally de-aged him like Robert De Niro in The Irishman here. They rewound time, gave him the fucking time infinity stone, so that way he could fit into the youth sex offenders program, so he would no longer be like an adult in the eyes of the law for these crimes that he was being tried for, so that way he could be part of this rehab program. And they said, you know, if he reoffends, he could be facing 10 years in jail. We're really sticking it to him. This is super strict stuff. And I truly think, I really believe, that this is so weak, so flimsy, that the lesson Jesse Butler learned here is that he can get away with anything. And that the only reason he got caught is because his victims survived. So I bet that if he continues to be a free man, it won't be long until he rapes again, and this time he will not leave them alive. That's what I think is going to happen down the line as a result of this ruling here. They have let a monster back into society, and they have now said to that monster, he's untouchable. So I think there's going to be a corpse on their hands at some point because of this. Jesse Butler is a rapist. Jesse Butler is an evil, evil rapist, and everyone that played a role in him getting away with his crimes needs to be held accountable for it. There needs to be an investigation into this. There needs to be real fucking justice here. This is absolutely sickening, and I just had to yap about this today. It's crazy. That's about it. See ya. Let's do a little role-playing here, a little thespian exercise. You're going to play the judge, and I'm going to be presenting a case to you. It's the case of a university student being caught red-handed with over 100 videos on his phone of him secretly filming women using the toilet. He was even caught in the act filming a woman using the bathroom. And now I present to you this irrefutable evidence where there is no wiggle room for some kind of alternate explanation. There is no way to weasel out of this being him filming these videos without permission, non-consensually, in a private setting, the toilet. Now, I, as the fun-size lawyer, present to you this case. What do you rule? What do you think is punishment that fits that crime? I would wager a guess that if you've got all your marbles about you, you would rightfully say that jail time is in order for a perverted, unremorseful freak like this. Now, what if I told you this drama exercise wasn't all make-believe? This is a case that just unfolded in Australian court, and the judge ruled that the punishment for this individual wasn't jail time. It was a very stern, hands-on-the-hip wiggling of the finger saying, now don't do that again.
He secretly filmed women inside toilets and showers, but Barefoot Cow doesn't appreciate the camera being pointed at him.
Mr. Cow, why did you upskirt women?
The Melbourne University biomedicine student, originally from Vietnam, walking from court on a community corrections order.
How peculiar that the guy who was addicted to upskirting women and taking non-consensual videos of them using the bathroom doesn't like to be filmed himself. Well, isn't that just the strangest thing? So this is 23-year-old Bao Cao. He is a biomedical student in Australia, and he was caught with over 100 videos of him secretly filming women in bathrooms. They mention like shower. He was caught in the act of filming a woman using the toilet. That's how they actually apprehended him. She noticed that he was secretly filming her while she was on the toilet. He was apparently holding his phone close to the wall, and she took notice of that, alerted security. They came in there and actually caught him red-handed here. Also, according to a couple articles, this is apparently not even the first time that he's had a run-in with the law for identical issues here. The offender had been sentenced twice before, receiving a community corrections order in July 2025 on the same matter, and May 2025 relating to an incident in October of 2024.
Is supposed to be in Melbourne studying to become a neurosurgeon. Instead, he's been exposed as a serial pervert. 3-year-old was living at Rooming Cos, a CBD student accommodation in the city. A fellow female student was showering when she noticed someone holding a mobile phone under her cubicle. It belonged to Cao, and he was arrested soon after. Police then discovered hundreds of secret images and videos of young women. There could be up to 150 alleged victims.
This is from a couple months ago with a previous run-in he had with authorities here, and surprise, surprise, the strategy of doing nothing and hoping that the bad guy stops being a bad guy didn't exactly work. In this case, where again he was caught, even arrested, and even pled guilty, he still didn't receive a conviction. No punishment. He had to take like a sex offender course or something. He had to do like a tutorial on how not to be a sexual degenerate pervert scumbag loser fucking vile worm.
Cao pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to a community corrections order and forced to undergo a sex offender treatment program. No conviction was recorded.
It also means that if he does go on to become a doctor or a surgeon, his patients are not going to know what he's been up to and what he could potentially get up to.
He should get kicked out by the campus.
Not only should he be kicked out, that should have been like a day one, like snap of the fingers, like instant reaction to all of these crimes that he has literally pled guilty to, caught in the act multiple times. They should have instantly caught him, or kicked him out for the safety of the students, and then throw him in jail. These are serious offenses. And as that lady mentioned, if he goes on to become a doctor, which it seems like he is perfectly within his ability to do so, since there are no consequences for his crimes that he has committed, his patients would then be in danger too. Imagine him around an unconscious woman that he is supposed to be like operating on or something. It's a recipe for disaster. It's fucking terrifying.
A few months ago, Cao was arrested again after filming a woman inside the public toilets here at the District Docklands shopping centre. He confessed and pleaded guilty. Again, no conviction was recorded.
How many women have to be subjected to a perpetrator of this type of crime, and he literally gets away with it? How safe are the female students at that university right now?
That's a great question. How safe are these women? How many women need to be subjected to this perpetrator who keeps getting away with it and is getting sent a very clear message from the justice system over there in Australia that he can just keep doing it to his heart's content till the cows come home? Why don't we ask the judge, Michelle, who is the one that was presiding over the case that was mentioned there about how he was caught filming in that toilet. That's the one that we've been watching prior to this older one. He is done and has been caught multiple times doing this exact same thing, and yet still not being punished.
Mr. Cao, do you still plan on becoming a doctor? Mr. Cao, do you plan on apologising to your victims?
Police found over 100 secretly recorded videos and images of innocent women on the 23-year-old's phone, taken inside public bathrooms at Docklands District Shopping Centre and at his student accommodation in the city.
Yeah, he can still pursue being a doctor. He's not getting any actual punishment, no consequences, even though he is very clearly guilty of these crimes for which he is accused. They have overwhelming evidence, and it's not even a matter of if he did it. They know he did. They just don't care. I guess the judge that was presiding over the case just hit him with a yawn. So what? He had over 100 videos secretly recording women in bathrooms? Big whoop! I got the fucking courthouse shitter bugged right now! Sue me! What a despicable outcome to this case. To me, it reads like they don't take sexual crimes seriously. That's what it feels like. It's unbelievable that they know he did this. They just don't want to punish him. So now this disgusting freak gets away with it. Not even a slap on the wrist, still gets to be a doctor down the line, and doesn't go to jail or face any repercussions for it. He has a 12-month period where he can't reoffend. That's all.
But despite his guilty pleas, the court let him off without a conviction. Explaining his actions, he told police he was in the female toilets because he wasn't sure about his gender.
Are you still unsure of your gender?
Now, in all the articles I've read relating to this case, I've only seen this claim from 7 News Australia. I'm not familiar with the organization, but according to them, when police were questioning Mr. Cow as to his reason for being in the women's restroom doing this, he panicked and spit out a bunch of horseradish that he's actually in there because he's unsure on his gender. However, according to a different news organization, what he said when confronted by authorities after being caught in the cubicle secretly filming that woman is that he was gay. He told the police that the reason he was in the women's restroom is because he was gay.
Reaching into her cubicle, she ran and told security, and when he was confronted, Cal said he was gay. That's why he was using the female bathrooms. When police seized Bao Cal's phone, they found more than 100 different videos, but only one victim was identified. The rest remain unknown. It's not the first time Cow has been shown mercy by the courts. In May last year, he avoided conviction after he was caught upskirting a woman, and in July, he avoided conviction again for near identical offending.
It actually is crazy how he continues to just get away with it with no punishments, because it's not like he and his legal team are going in there like he's got fucking Saul Goodman in his corner and they're in there outsmarting them in the legal system, giving like some kind of crazy legal smackdown proving his innocence. They literally march in there and just say, yep, he's guilty. This guy, he did it. Everything you've accused him of, he did do it. Okay, are we done here? Can we all go ahead and leave now? I'm getting kind of hungry, and he's got to go secretly film other women in other bathrooms. So, are we done here? No convictions, right? No convictions? All right, great. Really appreciate it. Big thumbs up. We're going to go ahead and leave now. He just continues to get away with it, even knowing that he is guilty. Everyone knows it. They just don't want to punish him. It's fucking crazy. Now, in the case of what he said to officers at the scene, 7 News Australia claims that he told them he was unsure of his gender, and then 9 News claims that he said he was gay. Either way, this clearly seems like a desperate, like, Hail Mary attempt to avoid going to jail, like, no, you guys have got it all twisted. I'm not in the women's bathroom because I'm a pervert. I'm here because I'm gay. And it's like, okay, that doesn't do anything. What you were doing is still highly illegal. You are caught filming women using the bathroom, and you were caught with over 100 other videos of secretly filming these women, non-consensually. It's a sexual crime. It doesn't matter if he's unsure of his gender or if he's gay or anything like that. Which, by the way, is something he didn't say in his previous run-ins with the authorities for similar crimes that he has been guilty of. So it really seems like it's just something he pulled out of his ass desperately when confronted by the police after getting caught red-handed again. Now, from what I can see from court, this never got brought up. So to me, it seems like his defense found it to be a pretty weak position to try and argue, because him secretly filming videos of women using the toilet, upskirting, about to use the shower in a fucking intimate setting like the bathroom where he's non-consensually filming them, is still illegal in every single possible context. So like I said, I haven't been able to find any information on if that was ever even brought up in court or not. It doesn't seem like it was. It sounds like he must have been like really trying to avoid getting arrested again, so then he tried saying like, I'm unsure about my gender, thus I had to be in the women's restroom filming these women non-consensually, collecting data here on my phone with these videos. Like, it sounds like that was something he just tried with the police that were about to arrest him, and not something that they actually tried as, like, a legal strategy, though I don't know, because not all of the information on this case is public. All we have is the judge's final verdict, where she cites things not related to that, but instead that he's young and also might be lonely. That was her reasoning for no punishment for a serial pervert who has committed numerous crimes.
The court today heard one of his traumatised victims remains anxious and, unsurprisingly, hypervigilant, the incident impacting her ability to use public restrooms.
In her sentencing, the magistrate said Mr. Cow has no family here and considers him to be isolated in the community. She also said the 23-year-old's youth needed to be taken into account.
Bro, this judge can suck a fart out of my butthole. What are you talking about? What does that have to do with this case at all? He's 23 years old. Do you think he doesn't know the difference between consensual filming and non-consensual filming? This is a sexual crime. He is using the women's restroom for the sole purpose of filming them use the bathroom and apparently upskirting women. And apparently, according to some of the articles, was secretly filming women who were about to use the shower. Like, this is not a matter of like, he didn't know any better. How could he have possibly known? He's alone in our community. What are you talking about? There's plenty of people in the world that are alone right now that don't do this degenerate, disgusting, criminal shit. And the message that the court is sending to the victims here is just gross. Literally giving the victims one of these right here. That's the gift from the judge in this case. Over 100 videos of victims that, again, they know the guy is guilty. They know that. They even say as much. And then they just don't do anything about it. They let him get away with it. It's not even like the like illusion of a punishment. They don't even try and pretend like they're punishing him. They're even just trying to garner sympathy for the guy, saying like, oh, well, he's alone and, well, he's only 23 years old, so we have to make sure we take that into account. So I think what makes sense here is that 12 months, just don't do it again and we're good here. Then all is squared. The victims got no justice. So, like, they read an impact statement from one of the women who was filmed by Cow here, and she's talking about, like, how it actually really dramatized her. And I imagine many others probably would feel the same if they found out that when they were using the bathroom, there was some secret fucking evil weirdo in the stall next to them filming them the whole time in order to jerk off to it. Like, I'm sure many people would feel extremely upset and uncomfortable by something like that. And then, on top of that, after they catch the person responsible, they get away with it. And not only do they get away with it, they try and play like a sad song on the world's smallest violin for the guy, not for the victims. They don't do anything for the victims to try and get them justice or anything. It's no compassion for the victims of a sexual crime blows my mind here. And the judge, Michelle, even had the gall to say, like, the women deserve to feel safe in this kind of area, you know, an intimate spot like the bathroom. Which is why I'm ensuring that this guy does not go to jail and does not get punished. We'll have a 12-month period where we ask him to maybe just stop, pump the brakes on that filming women secretly in the restroom business. That ought to make all these victims feel better and feel safe again. It's crazy, man. It blows my mind. Judge Michelle really dropped the ball on this one. I think there needs to be a follow-up investigation here, but that's... maybe I'm on the crack pipe. I just feel like justice wasn't exactly served. No convictions, even though this is not the first time he has faced this. He continues to have a 100% win rate here, and even just, all he does is just plead guilty, and they just refuse to punish him. It's not like he's going in there and outsmarting them or something, or proving his innocence or anything like that. He just goes in there and just like, yeah, I did it. Okay, can I go now? Are we done here? Like, oh yeah, we're done. No conviction. Don't worry about any of that pesky nuisance stuff. Don't worry. Go about your day. Keep studying. Can't wait to see you as a neurologist out there and all that stuff. It's mind-boggling. It really is crazy. I had to yap about this when I learned about it. That's really about it. So yeah. Review bomb battles aren't rare, but they are embarrassing. And right now, there is a bloody showdown going on between Breaking Bad fans and Game of Thrones fans.
The most recent episode, In the Name of the Mother, was originally sitting at a 10 out of 10, which is quite common when a really good episode of a show releases because fans will flood the ratings with 10 out of 10s before it eventually settles a little bit lower when the less hardcore fans give it a rating. But there wasn't really a chance for this to happen. Soon after release, the episode started getting review bombed, as you can see by this perfectly natural voting distribution. I guess the show is either a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10.
This shit is always so cringe. I've said it a million times. I think Breaking Bad Bad is a perfect television series, and this episode in particular, I think 1000% deserves a 10 out of 10. Till the cows come home. If the universe lasts another 10 billion years before the heat death, I hope at that moment Ozymandias will still have a 10 out of 10 rating, because that's what it's earned. I think it is an incredible masterpiece. But that doesn't mean that nothing else can ever be a 10 out of 10. There can only be one. Shit, even the Sith in the fucking Star Wars universe had the rule of 2 at the very least. It's ridiculous how there's like this gatekeeping of 10 out of 10 from the Breaking Bad fans. So anytime something even starts to like encroach on that sacred ground, on the Ozymandias sacred ground, they start review bombing it without ever having seen it at all, just to fuck it. It's so embarrassing. Like, there's a group of people in every fandom that for some reason take it so seriously that they put the achievements and the accolades of the property they're a fan of on their own soul. So in this case, there are people whose entire identity and personality revolves around being a defender of Breaking Bad and ensuring that this 10 out of 10 remain unsullied by anything else coming close, and they'll fight tooth and nail for it. It's just so embarrassing because, like, they feel personally attacked because another show has an extremely good episode, like in this case, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms with In the Name of the Mother. I am a huge fan of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I already made a video recently glazing it, which thankfully has not aged poorly or anything because this show is only getting better. The finale airs tonight. I'm extremely pumped for it. And I think that this was an incredible episode of the television show. Do I think it would have stayed a 10 out of 10 without the review bombing? No, I don't think so, because it's not a 10 out of 10 episode. Very few things are. It probably would have settled in like the 9-7-ish range if I had to spitball, but the fact that it got review bombed in there and just fucking dragged to hell for the crime of just being an extremely good episode of a television series is so fucking silly.
Well, due to having a 10 out of 10, and the only other episode of a show with a 10 out of 10 being Ozymandias from Breaking Bad, when the review bombing started, people were quick to blame Breaking Bad fans. And I'm sure a lot of the review bombers were, but also some people just like causing chaos. Well, anyway, the news that Breaking Bad fans were review bombing the show went viral, and in turn, Game of Thrones fans decided to retaliate, review bombing Ozymandias, which held a rating of 10 out of 10 for basically 13 years. But after the recent review bombing, is now sitting at a 9.7 with a massive 71,000 one-star reviews.
That is a very good point. There's no 100% confirmed evidence to suggest every single one-star review bomb that came out of nowhere was from Breaking Bad fans or anything. There definitely are people that just want to poo-poo on anyone's fun and do what they can to shove a little misery wherever they are able to. So it's definitely possible it's just people that did it for the sake of, you know, fuck you guys and that's it. But there were some very vocal Breaking Bad fans going through the marching orders of review bombing this and getting a lot of people on their side to do it, at least from what I saw. And what is clear is after that story went viral, as Dolan Darkest said, then Game of Thrones fans responded by review bombing Ozymandias, and now it is no longer at the 10 out of 10, which is just, that's an affront to God. Because I do think it is a 10 out of 10 episode. There's a reason why it's held a 10 out of 10 for 13 years. And now it's gone. Fizzled. Over what? Why? Why spill this blood? Why can't multiple shows be extremely good? Why can't there be 10 out of 10 episodes in more shows? I would rather that world as opposed to just one 10 out of 10 ever made. Like, I don't see why Breaking Bad fans get upset if there's another show that gets, you know, teetering on a 10 out of 10 or extremely close, whatever, that they feel they need to start review bombing to keep it in line so that way there's only ever one. I would much rather a world where many shows are having 10 out of 10 masterpiece performances because that's much more entertaining than just getting served dog shit.
Similar things have also happened in the past with Attack on Titan fans and Breaking Bad fans review bombing each other. You can tell it's bad because the next episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which actually hasn't even released yet, has also been review bombed. The entire thing is basically just next level unemployed activities.
True. Dolan's right. So yeah, even the episode that's airing in a couple of hours from now is already been review bombed here because of this pointless loser fight.
Here's some of the more pathetic reviews from either side. We've got this Breaking Bad fan giving it a 1 out of 10 and saying, Game of Thrones can never be a percent of Breaking Bad. Bunch of cornball fighting over this medieval slop Just stories of kings and kingdoms. I have seen better in that genre too, but this is too overrated, and review bombings won't even change the fact that Breaking Bad has been 10 out of 10 for more than a decade. And Game of Thrones, even in hundreds of years with hundreds of sloppy spin-offs, can never do it for once.
Jesus Christ, Junior, from the sound of your message here, it doesn't even sound like you were alive when Breaking Bad was airing. Holy fuck, did he write that review on construction paper with a box of crayons? My god. I think that is the perfect epitome for these review bombing soldiers here, the champions on the front lines of these review bomb battles between fandoms. That right there is the perfect summation of their mentality. Actual baby brain.
And we've got this one from a Game of Thrones fan. The last thing you're ever going to see is a Game of Thrones fan smiling down at you as you loose your rating. When people ask what happened here, tell them the North remembers. Tell them winter came for Breaking Bad. Not every story is about a chemistry teacher with ego issues. Some episodes are about character depth, atmosphere, tension before the storm, subtle storytelling.
Holy Redditor, I can actually hear the grease and fedora slipping off of his cranium as he typed that one up. To be fair, you have to have a high IQ to understand review bombing, am I right? Oh my goodness gracious.
It's just embarrassing, man. I mean, I guess Breaking Bad fans were the ones who started it. The best outcome I can think of is that IMDb just wipes all the fake ratings from both shows over the last few days, and the people involved go out and apply for a job or something. You're allowed to like both shows, guys. It's not a competition. Thanks for slopping by.
I don't know if that's something IMDb often does with getting rid of baloney, bogus reviews that are very clearly like this, a review bombing back and forth buttfuck fest. I don't know if they do that, but if they don't, probably should. I think it is such a crime that because of all of this hoopla, Ozymandias is no longer a 10 out of 10. And as Dolan said, it does seem like Breaking Bad fans were the ones that started this just completely unnecessary nonsense review bombing war, all because A Night of the Seven Kingdoms had a banger episode that was doing really well on IMDb. And now look where we are. All this bloodshed for what? Nothing to show for it. War. War never changes. Yeah, review bombs are cringe. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya. There are some stories that are so powerful they transcend the bounds of time. No matter how many years pass, these stories are still talked about, they're still discussed, and they are still remembered. Like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Iliad, Journey to the West, my battle against that wasp when playing Elden Ring many moons ago, and now today, the story of 7 dogs that escaped from a meat truck in China and walked 10 miles home to their owners. Actually a crazy story that sounds like it's ripped straight out of a Disney film from the 90s. So the story goes that on March 16th, a man named Lou noticed a group of dogs that were walking in formation along a roadway. He found it peculiar, so he started recording them and even tried to lead them to safety, but the dogs ignored him. This video has now racked up over 200 million views. And apparently these dogs were stolen by thieves working at a dog meat shop, and they busted out of the truck and spent a couple of days walking 10 miles in unison back to their homes. They were led by the corgi, who would occasionally look back to ensure that no one went astray. Lou said, "They resemble a band of little brothers in distress moving in unison, nothing like stray dogs." They did eventually return to their owners after this journey here. Apparently, one of the dogs in this group, a German Shepherd, had an injury. They had unfortunately gotten hurt along the way. So they formed kind of like a protective barrier around the German Shepherd and moved together like that. Kind of like out of, fucking 300 or something, where they plant the shields around them up top and in front to block the arrows and everything. It's actually unbelievable, assuming all of this is true. And based on all of the evidence, it does appear to be true. So here's the video that really blew it up. Now, I couldn't find it with original audio. I can only find it with like Facebook royalty-free music attached to it. And I decided just to mute it because I don't think it really adds anything to it. But here you can see the group moving out in unison. It does seem like they're trying to like shield that German Shepherd in the middle there. And like, At first, I thought it was AI generated. Like, I thought it was just some bogus AI short that they slapped a sob story on. No different than, like, Reddit karma farmers who will just take a picture of their PlayStation 2 and be like, man, I still remember my father before he went off into space and then blew up from a cosmic alien attack, giving me this PlayStation 2. And I know it's a little out of date and old-fashioned, but I can't help but keep playing this in his memory. Can I get some updates in memory of my papa? Like that kind of garbage where it's just a bunch of barnacles. So I thought that this was fake. But the more I looked into it, the more sources that were coming out to confirm that it is legitimate. According to the sources out there, after the dogs rejected Lou's help and he was unsuccessful in trying to, get them to safety, he then shared that video online and urged local authorities to step in and help. It was at that point they got the UAV online here from the local Bitter Coffee Stray Dog base that reported that the dogs come from the same village, typically roaming freely together and having formed strong friendships. In response, the base dispatched several volunteers and even a drone to track the dogs and facilitate their safe return home. So they got the cavalry out there in order to get the dogs back safely from the sound of things. One volunteer claimed that individuals operating a dog meat shop had stolen the dogs, suggesting they may have escaped from a truck, though no witnesses saw their departure. So that component of the story about them escaping from a truck destined for a dog meat facility, which would have obviously spelt their doom, isn't fully confirmed. That hasn't been verified yet, though that seems to be what most sources are indicating is likely what caused them to be so far away, is that they were stolen for that purpose. And I guess it could make sense if they do frequently travel together, as the claim states. If they were all together and then someone just came through and got all of them at once, that would explain how they got the whole kit and caboodle here. But again, it's not fully confirmed or anything like that. But what is true is that this group of 7 dogs was traveling for quite a while, covering miles of distance to get back to their village, to get back home. And they did it all together as like one coordinated troop. It's fucking incredible, actually. Assuming, of course, it is all true, which, again, all the sources I can find seem to agree that it is. One of the owners has apparently come forward talking about the relief. They were the owner of the German Shepherd and the Golden Retriever, stating how happy they are to have them back and fortunate that they were able to return to them. I also saw a couple other images capturing their journey. So yeah, I personally believe that it's real, and man, that shit is crazy. Like, I'm very happy that they made it back safely. As of now, this is all the information that's available. I'm hoping there'll be some additional information and a follow-up investigation trying to find the thieves that were responsible for taking the dogs, and hopefully they'll be brought to justice. It is a crime, what they did. It is 100% a crime, so hopefully they get punished for it. Anyway, even though this is a story about dogs finding their way home, there really is just something inspirational about it to a certain degree, to see this kind of gumption, to see them band together and go over the course of a couple days, many miles home against all the odds and get back safely all together as one unit is really just something super incredible. So yeah, I just wanted to yap about it a bit. That's it. See ya. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Great news. Krampus came early and he slit the throat of Ronald McDonald, took control of the company, and farted out a wonderful AI advertisement that everyone's making fun of. And while the ad itself is terrible, the response from the people behind it is the most pathetic shit you could imagine. I'm not surprised McDonald's would go the route of like Coca-Cola AI ads trying to force that up everyone's asses. But what I am surprised at is that the people that actually generated it are like genuinely trying to present themselves as if they did something impressive, like this was backbreaking labor. It is a comical response. But anyway, let me show you the AI ad.
It's the most terrible time of the year. All the shops turn to mayhem, even Santa knows space, and the tree redecorated your place. It's the most terrible time of the year.
Sorry for the greasy old man jump scare here, but I've just got to interrupt briefly for my own little halftime show because I find it to just be beautiful how delusional the hacks are behind this AI that they actually convinced themselves that a good marketing push for McDonald's would be basically getting pugilistic with Christmas itself, shitting on one of the most beloved holidays in the Western world, calling it the most terrible time of the year. That is a galaxy brain scheme right there that only the most poisoned of AI meat gobblers could cook up. Like, actually some shit the Grinch would maybe pull, but even then it'd be somewhat charming. This is just foul. The most terrible time of the year, and showcasing why Christmas sucks using an AI advertisement to promote McDonald's. It doesn't really get worse than that as far as combinations go. That's like combining Coke, Mentos, and my fucking raw bussy.
The roast turned to charcoal and the cookies burned too. Freaking chaos, it feels like a zoo. It's the most terrible time of the year. So you bleed from the madness, the lights and the cheer, and hide out in McDonald's till January's here.
Oh, McDonald's can save us from Christmas? Well, I'm out the door right now. I want to make sure I avoid Christmas and family and all of the holly jolly spirit. It can save me from the madness. What a great idea. Incredible marketing campaign. If you hate Christmas, McDonald's is the place for you. Now, like I said, the ad is bad. It looks like shit. It is very clearly just AI slop. No one's gonna watch this and get any warm, fuzzy feelings inside their soul or anything. It is just very cheap trash. But don't tell that to the agency behind it, because they are defending this garbage tooth and nail. Before diving into the spaghetti and meatballs of the full statement, let me give you a sneak peek here, the appetizer from marketing manager Karen, who stated that the goal was simply to show that December is a busy month for everyone. Not to diss the biggest holiday for much of the Western world, we want to give people something to look forward to each day, not only the traditional peak dates, and this campaign brings that idea to life in a new way. Karen, do you have eyes? Did you watch that by chance? I feel like what she may have been given is a ChatGPT prompt of what was initially pitched as their marketing campaign, but the video they got does not reflect that idea at all. It is blatantly calling it the most terrible time of the year, showing that it fucking sucks, and that the only escape is by going to McDonald's to hide out there until it all passes like a storm. Like some shit out of the mist, really. So I don't know what crack pipe she's boofing here to be saying that the campaign is about giving people something to look forward to each day. What it's actually presenting is an escape route from the season. Go to McDonald's if you need to get away from the hustle and bustle of Christmas, the most terrible time of the year. Like, I don't know what she's yapping about. I think it's pretty clear showcasing all of the worst parts of the holiday season without ever really giving you anything about, like, but it's all worth it because family matters, you know, fucking Fast and Furious style. Instead it says, it's not worth it, you need to escape to McDonald's ASAP. It's like fucking Cloverfield or something. You gotta get away from the monster, go to McDonald's, we'll save you. It's a pretty bold marketing move. Now, obviously, I don't give that much of a fuck. I'm not on the board of directors here at McDonald's. I'm not a shareholder, and I'm not offended by it or anything. But I do think it's weird. Like, if this was my company, right? Like, if this, let's say for Cheeky Soap, I reached out to a marketing agency to make me an advertisement to play during the Super Bowl to promote Cheeky Soap. And what they give me back is something that associates my brand with, like, hating Christmas or something. I'm raising an eyebrow. Like, let's say I get an ad back and it's like, if you hate Christmas and you love to beat animals and beat the shit out of orphans, then make sure you shower with Cheeky Soap before getting your hands dirty. I'm pumping the brakes. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second here, sports fans. Maybe let's not associate my brand with that kind of, like, super negative shit. How about the other thing? Like, you love Christmas, you love puppies and helping orphans, then you shower with Cheeky Soap. Why not that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird that the whole ad is about, like, Christmas is so terrible, you gotta escape it by going to McDonald's. It's fucking stupid. And of course, it's all an AI slop ad in the first place, so it's even worse. But the whole thing is just fucking baffling to me is all. But anyway, the main thing I wanted to throw tomatoes at is this statement here. For 7 weeks, we hardly slept, with up to 10 of our in-house AI and post specialists at the gardening club working in lockstep with the directors. If that isn't the biggest load of dirty barnacles I have ever read, you're telling me you had 10 people, your in-house AI and post specialists, by the way, yeah, fucking specialists, prompt engineers, top-tier sentence writers, working on this for 7 weeks hardly sleeping? Yeah, I'm fucking sure, buddy, and I'm 7 feet tall. That is so fucking stupid. What a bold-faced lie. And if that is the truth, if you actually had to have 10 lobotomites here working on this, writing sentences into the AI to produce this, then you guys are fucking idiots. Actual morons. You could put a paintbrush in an elephant's trunk and just set a keyboard in front of it where it's pecking at the letters and it would type out enough sentences to have the AI spit out basically the same fucking ad, I'm sure, over time. And it probably wouldn't take it 7 weeks to do so either. What directors do you have? Some dude that's just sitting there fucking zooted out of his mind saying, yeah, it's good, write that sentence. It's so dumb. It's such a lie. But maybe they did actually have a lot of staff and they hosed McDonald's for a huge paycheck here for this, pretending to do 7 weeks worth of work. That I could absolutely see where they're just taking a ton of money from them, pretending to do like a lot of work, even though anybody knows that this is not a lot of work. It's AI generating a fucking 45-second commercial. You can do that in literal seconds. Every shot traveled through a rigorously engineered tool chain, real Google Earth plates, advanced style transfer, pixel-level photo repair, custom LoRaS, control nets, bespoke comfy UI graphs, and thousands upon thousands of tightly steered iterations. Bullshit! Baloney! This is a ChatGPT generated response here where you ask it to just make up a bunch of hocus pocus jargon here in an effort to confuse people into thinking that you actually did any real work at all. You didn't. Liar, liar, pants on fire. You just typed a few sentences in over the course of maybe an afternoon. Then came compositing, lighting balance, physics corrections, physics corrections? My left shoe you did. Anyone who watched the ad can point out tons of fucking problems with that statement, like this guy who falls on the ice and his whole body folds in on itself like origami. Physics corrections, what a joke. And final finishing in flame. We generated what felt like dailies, thousands of takes, then shaped them in the edit just as we would on any high craft production. This wasn't an AI trick, it was a film. And here's the thing I wish more people understood. Magic isn't the technology. The magic is the team behind it. People who pushed, questioned, experimented, swore at broken models, solved impossible problems, and refused to stop until every frame felt cinematic. I don't see this spot as a novelty or a cute seasonal experiment. To me, it's evidence of something much bigger, that when craft and technology meet with intention, they can create work that feels genuinely cinematic. So no, AI didn't make this film. We did. Oh, chills. Literal chills. Wow. What a statement. That's powerful. Man, I take back everything I said. After reading what went into this, the Herculean effort it must have taken for them to produce such a high-quality cinematic AI McDonald's advertisement about Christmas blowing ass. I just can't believe that I would belittle them for this. I feel like such a fool now. Oh my god! And the physics corrections that they must have went through. That poor guy must have been really scrapping in the lab to make it look as good as it did. Fuck. Inspirational. That's the word that's popping into my head now. Now that my eyes have been opened, enlightened into all of the work from such a talented team that went into this. At Sweet Shop HQ, the masterminds responsible for this masterpiece that will no doubt stand the test of time as one of the marketing greats. Now that I see it, I can't unsee it. I know that what they've done here, fucking trash. And that the entire team behind it at Sweet Shop here must be the most insufferable losers on the planet. Holy Toledo. What a statement, Sweet Shop. Really incredible stuff. You did a great one generating this response. I'll tell you that much. The AI cooked for you there. Wow. Anyway, this shit sucks. That's really about it. See ya. All right. Hold your horses. Twist my arm, why don't you? I'll review Fallout Season 2. I wasn't planning on it because I'm so tardy to the party with it. I only finished season 2 like 3 days ago or something like that. And the conversation's been there, done that, and now that the dust is settled, I guess I'll give you my thoughts on it because people keep asking. I thought it was alright. I think it's much weaker than season 1. There were quite a few things about it I found disappointing and just a step backwards compared to where they were last season. And that's not to say season 1 was perfect or anything, but it was very solid. I really did enjoy it. I went in expecting like poop and maybe even a little shit, but I actually got something that was entertaining. Season 2, though, while I didn't get any, fecal matter or anything, it is just not as strong. There were still things I liked about it, but overall, as a complete package, it just left a lot to be desired. I guess before diving into complaints, I'll at least give you like the things I really liked about the season. I think they nailed the look of New Vegas. I really think they crushed it. Like, they did a great job in season 1 with sets and costume and everything. Like, I do think they capture the spirit of the games really well. In season 2, it's no different. I think they absolutely knock it out of the park with the way New Vegas looks. I think they crush it with the characters. Deathclaws, I thought, looked great. Outside of one scene where it got a little janky, but for the most part, I really think they nail the aesthetic of New Vegas, and I do think they capture the spirit of it as well for the most part. The action, again, shines. I think they do a really good job of bringing the over-the-top gore from the game to the show and keeping the almost silliness of some of the, blowing people's limbs off and shit intact and making it feel like it fits in the show. I do really like the way they handle action. I think they've continued to do a good job with season 2 in that regard. I think the action slaps, though there are quite a few things. It's not quite how I remember it from the game. Granted, it's been many years since I played the game, but it doesn't follow what I thought it would from the established lore of New Vegas. But what they put here still works in the context of the show, so I can excuse it to a certain degree. There were some things I really didn't like about some of the changes they made, but overall, I thought it was fine in the context they built it in for this series. That being said, I've got to make a mention, and I know this is supposed to be the thumbs up moment, the thumbs up section here, but I have to make a mention that what they did with the factions here, I think, was a big old blunder. I don't really like the changes they made to the factions at all. I guess we can get into that more in a minute if I want to dive deeper into spoilers, but if you played New Vegas, you're better off just neuralizing yourself and forgetting everything that happened in there, especially in regards to factions, because the show takes pretty much none of it. But like I said, what they do and how they change it fits in the context of this show, but even still, I couldn't help but be disappointed, specifically about some of the decisions they made with the factions. I also think that the best part of Season 2 was the flashbacks. I think that's where the writing's the best, because outside of the flashbacks, I think that's when it really stumbles. The worst part about Season 2 is the writing. It's what really holds it back, and I think that's where they took many steps in the wrong direction when it comes to the Fallout television series here. It honestly felt like there were just moments where the writers just said, fuck it. In the writing room, someone was just like, guys, we're thinking too hard. Just run it as is, and we'll just, fingers crossed, hope no one really stops to digest it. Because there are some nonsensical shit that goes on here. Best example, spoiler alert, the death clause in New Vegas. New Vegas is not the way it was in the game. I do think it looks very similar, and I think they capture this, the aesthetic of it, and I think it looks really cool, but they do make a crucial change, which is now it's infested with Deathclaw. And people live just outside of this barricade. And there are a bunch of Deathclaws in there, and at the end of the season, Maximus fights the Deathclaws in there. And he starts beating some of them, but there's a lot. And then at one point he gets tail whipped and sent through the barricade. Very easily. The Deathclaw could have broken through this. It is literally one piece of sheet metal. And they launch Maximus through it like a fucking missile. And now all of a sudden the Deathclaw start pouring out into the area where people live. why the fuck are people living there with all those death claws on the other side of a very flimsy, unreliable barricade? And why are the Deathclaw not going out there and eating them at any point? There is a plentiful food source on the other side of a very tiny barricade they could easily break out, and yet they just never do. I guess maybe the idea is the Deathclaws are too stupid to do that? I don't know. It just felt really weird. And like I tried to cope initially like, oh, maybe it's just because the power armor was so heavy that it busted through this near impenetrable barricade. But then the question naturally arose in my noodle, well, if the power armor is so heavy that it can do that, then the Deathclaw must be like 10x that strength in order to ragdoll the power armor like that. Meaning, if they just hit their tail against that barricade, it would have fucking disintegrated it. So, like, there's no way of spinning it where the Deathclaw couldn't have been going through that barricade anytime they wanted to. They just, I guess, decided they never wanted the food on the other side. And I just really don't get why people would choose to live there knowing the Deathclaw are there. Just very odd. Very, very weird choice there. And there's a couple other moments like that. For example, like, there's a scene where the ghoul gets punched and impaled on a big spiky pole in the middle of town. And he is there for like an entire day. And the town just goes on around him. He's asking for help. No one helps, which I think fits perfectly in line in the Fallout universe. But also, nobody steals from him. Nobody goes over and kills him or anything. No one steals anything from him. No one messes with him. I thought the implication was going to be when he was stuck on that pole and starting to, go feral, was that people were going to go just start stealing from him. Then he was really going to be fucked. But that never happened. They just leave him alone and ignore him. Which, ignoring the cries for help is one thing. That makes sense. But you're telling me no one there in this world, this town of people that do anything to survive and scavenge supplies, you're telling me they wouldn't go just take the easy supplies from this ghoul's bag who is completely stuck on this pole? Like, come on. No, don't, like, be serious. There's just some moments like that where it just, and another one, sorry I keep going down these, but the more I think about it, the more, like, ridiculous it is. Norm, Lucy's brother Norm, who I think has another interesting side plot that goes on throughout here, which gives you a lot more insight into like actual employees of Vault-Tec who have now been thought out. He is now in a position where they've turned on him, it's mutiny, and he's about to get killed, but then rad roaches come through and start killing all of the vault dwellers that were about to kill him. And how does Norm survive? He hides under a table that is literally like a picnic table. It is just open on all four sides. And the rad roaches go right by him, kill all of the vault dwellers, eat them for a while, and then just leave. Presumably going right by Norm, who is just exposed in the open there under that table. Why? He didn't have like the cloak of invisibility or anything. The rad roaches had already been spotted like on the ground and everything. They would have seen Norm. Why didn't they kill him? And also, they were feasting upon and killing all of the vault dwellers for quite a while, and yet one of them survived. Conveniently, the one Vault-Tec employee that Norm had befriended. It's just very, like, the plot armor they give characters in Season 2 is, like, just very peculiar, because they don't even bother trying to give you a logical explanation for how they could have possibly survived. And oftentimes just felt kind of flat. I'll be getting into some spoilers here, but since the show is still pretty new, I won't get into like the biggest spoilers. But one thing this season did is they really seemed to want to do more gags. Like, that's the impression I got. Now, season 1, of course, still had like comedy and stuff in there. It's fucking Fallout. Of course that's going to be there. And I thought it did a pretty decent job capturing that spirit in season 1. In season 2, I think overall they do a good job of capturing the spirit of the Fallout world. But when it comes to its characters and some of like the jokes they tried to play off, I thought they really fucking fumbled and fell flat on their face. Like, the entire side plot of like the inbreeding support group, I thought offered nothing and was just like a headache every time they were given screen time, and they got way more screen time than I think they ever should have for the role that it played in the show. So like, incest jokes were in season 1, and they were kind of like, haha, that's wacky. But in season 2, they go hog wild with incest jokes. They even like attach a whole hemorrhoid onto the overall narrative ass, where Reg now has an inbreeding support group, which is supposed to help, vault dwellers overcome the trauma of the circumstances around their birth being the product of incest and inbreeding. But he offers snacks, and the vault dwellers don't actually care about any of that incest shit. They just care about the snacks. They want to snack down, and then it becomes a big snack club, which then becomes a problem because they're running low on water. So Overseer Betty is now losing control of her vault. She's being pushed to the edge because Reg refuses to concede here. He refuses to just go belly up and give, the snacks back. He even makes a point saying, you can take away the inbreeding support group, but you can't take away the snack budget, and then grabs a handful of Jell-O and eats it. And this goes on for so long. Like, I feel like there were so many scenes of this fucking snack club, and it's just, like, it didn't make me laugh. It was just like, okay, come on, let's get back to, like, the interesting stuff, please. Why are we spending so much time here? The whole idea is it's supposed to show that Betty is losing control of her vault. And I think they could have done that without giving so much screen time to something so fucking insignificant and annoying. And I just think that's the most egregious example. There's other moments where the show does similar things where it like lands on a gag and then just like beats the shit out of it. But anyway, I think like one of the worst writing sins that season 2 makes is the inconsistency around some of its characters. At the end of season 1, we saw the Ghoul take on the Brotherhood of Steel in their power armor without fear, without hesitation. He was just a force of nature fucking clapping them. In season 2, he gets beaten by a rad scorpion. He gets absolutely fucking slapped around, steamrolled by a rad scorpion, which leaves him incapacitated for a long period of time. Like, I'm very confused on like the power scaling. Like, he's sometimes, an absolute menace, unstoppable, and then other times he's just coughing baby and Rad Scorpion comes through and bullies him. It was just kind of frustrating. Like, he is always either extremely powerful when the plot demands it or inexplicably weak when the plot needs him to be like sidelined for a little while on the bench. And Lucy, I really like Lucy as a character. I think she is the perfect character for a Fallout show where she is like extremely, ingrained in her morals. She still says fudge instead of fuck, and she really wants to see the best in the people around her. So like in the Rad Scorpion case, the reason that happened is because she took them off course to try and help someone that was crying out for assistance, and it ends with them getting ganked by the Rad Scorpion. And the Ghoul was like, we should just kill them, you shouldn't do this. And then once he goes down, once he, gets the wind taken out of his sails because he's all fucked up from the Rad Scorpion, he then takes the survivor back to where she came, which happens to get her involved with the Legion, which ends with her on a cross dying. And then the Ghoul has to save her. And even after that, she still stands by her morals. I think it's a really cool character trait to see explored in a universe like Fallout where everyone is in some way a bad guy because they have to be to survive the wasteland. There's no one that's like morally pure or anything, and Lucy's not either. But she tries to be, unlike most people in the show. And I think that's very cool, but because of that, a lot of how Lucy survives is based off of pure fucking luck. So like with the Legion, she survives because the Ghoul came back and rescued her because he still needed her as a bargaining chip. And there are just so many instances of her surviving solely because of luck. Like even at the end of the series, I won't spoil what was going to happen there, but with her father, there was something that was about to happen. Lucy was about to lose, but again, the Ghoul saves her. There are just so many times where she is just saved by sheer dumb luck. Which I think is just a shame because the show has established that she can hold her own. She can do what it takes to survive. And it's not to say that she never does in season 2. She does have a couple of badass moments, but for the most part, a lot of how she gets to where she ends up is just because roll the dice. She got lucky. And I don't know, it just felt kind of like underwhelming after like the third or fourth fucking time that happened this season. Now, that being said, she is not the only character that tries to be a good person. Maximus also does as well. but we can see him making a lot more morally gray decisions, and there's even like a whole swing of things where it seems like he's going in the wrong direction and is no longer that interested in being a good person, and, you know, kind of snaps back into it. But it is nice to see a character like Lucy who's all about, you know, trying to be a good person, and Maximus who wants to be a good person but is also okay just kind of really teetering on the edge. I really do like both of these characters, and I just wish season 2 did more with fleshing them out and evolving them. Maximus, I do think they did a good job with, though, for the season. I enjoyed his plot line quite a bit with the Brotherhood. And it is interesting to see him, you know, start turning heel. And like, he's now doing some bad shit that you wouldn't really expect someone that's wanting to be a good person would indulge in. And even someone close to him is talking about that too. Like, we used to make fun of the Codex, and now here you are quoting it. And he's like, well, you know, maybe it's not so bad after the things I've seen. I think that's a very interesting concept to play with. And it is different from Lucy, who is still, even after everything she's been through and all the times her morals get her in hot water and damn near fucking executed, she stands by them. Maximus, not so much. He's a lot more fluid when it comes to his morals and what he's going to do to try and make the world a better place, leave it better than he found it. I do like these characters. I just don't think season 2 did enough with them to grow them. I liked what season 1 was setting up, and then season 2 I think dropped the ball a bit. And unfortunately the same is true for House. I think there are moments where they get like the House from the game, but then there's other times where they just make him like cartoonishly evil, like when he just goes to a bar, starts a bar fight, and kills the guys there for some reason for the sake of science. Like, that was just evil for the sake of evil. But then there are other times where, like, Cooper, these are during the flashbacks, like I said, I think these are the best moments of the show when it comes to writing. Cooper's, like, talking to House, and then you get to really see House, the way in which I remember him, and what is objectively a more interesting character. One who isn't like fully just like some madman, raving lunatic, evil billionaire guy. He is a bad guy, but a complex character. Like, just as he was in the games, he has a lot of depth, and they show that only in some flashbacks. Like, it seemed like they really wanted to do more with House, but then also felt obligated to make sure you know this is a bad guy and he does bad things. Watch him kill these guys in a bar fight. That type shit. So that, like, just kind of disappointing with some of the things they did, like with House. But as I said, in the flashbacks, that's when the writing is at its best. Like Coop and Barbara's conversations about, you know, what they're going to do about the end of the world and their daughter, and how that changes their thinking and the way in which they want to approach the problems that they face. I think the flashbacks handle all of that very well. It's just when they get outside of flashbacks, it starts to really fall apart. Anyway, though, I don't think Fallout Season 2 was bad. It was still enjoyable. Like, I did enjoy watching it. It wasn't like a slog, and it didn't frustrate me a ton to the point where I didn't want to watch it or anything like that. I did like it. I just didn't like it nearly as much as I liked Season 1. So anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. Everyone's talking about the Steam machine and soiling their britches, speculating on what the price might be, and it's been a big conversation in the gaming space that I want to weigh in on a little bit here. For those that don't know, the Steam machine is Valve's latest device, their foray into console gaming. They recently had the Steam Deck come out to great success, and now the Steam machine is their latest. It is apparently a pretty beefy piece of hardware aiming to deliver 6 times the power of the Steam Deck, capable of running games at 4K 60 FPS. Linus also recently made a video covering the Steam machine, going over a lot of its capabilities and pretty much everything about it. It is very interesting, and the community's already started calling it the Valve Gabe Cube, which I think is adorable. Don't know if the name's going to stick or not, but I do fuck with that one. But even though this does seem really exciting, people are pretty concerned with what the price on it might be. Especially because apparently Valve has said to expect the pricing to be like a PC, not a console. Which is pretty vague, but it paints a picture that it's probably going to be a little more expensive than what you're expecting when it comes to like PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo pricing, because PC prices can vary drastically. There is a lot of wiggle room there for what the price might be. I got your fucking nose, you loser. Point is, people are a little worried that this might be like a $1,500 piece of hardware or something like that, which has led to a lot of debate in the community because that is much higher than traditional console prices, to the point where why would you even bother? You could just get like a full-fledged PC as opposed to getting the Steam machine instead. And a lot of things that people were speculating is that maybe it would be subsidized because they have the Steam storefront, like the Steam Deck, for example. The Steam Deck is the price that it is because they are able to take a bit of loss on the hardware itself because they make up for it with the Steam storefront, obviously. That, however, is not apparently going to be applicable to the Steam machine. According to Linus's video, they won't be following that same model where they're going to be, able to get the price of the Steam machine lower because of the storefront or anything like that, subsidizing through that. Instead, it is just going to be priced like a PC.
A major question mark, though, is of course price. Valve wasn't able to give any specific numbers due to rapidly evolving market conditions, but they will obviously have it nailed down when the Steam machine launches in Q1 2026 alongside the new Steam controller. They did give me one hint, though. They said that while they expect it to be very competitively priced with a PC, that it will be priced like a PC, rather than like a console with games subsidizing the upfront hardware purchase.
For a lot of people, this has been the biggest alarm bell. This has been the biggest red flag. This has been the poop in the soup here that a lot of people are concerned about, because if it's not going to be subsidized through like the storefront game sales or anything like that, it is just going to be a very expensive piece of hardware. What that price looks like, we don't know, but a lot of people are saying it's kind of dead on arrival just because of that, because based on the specs and everything here, it will probably be a very expensive console. Plus, it already feels kind of niche because console gamers, they might not really be interested in just having a PC console. They would probably, if they want to do that and make that switch, they'd probably just invest in like a full PC rig. And PC gamers already have a PC, so why would they want a PC gaming console? So it's been like this weird back and forth, and we don't really have definitive answers on a lot of this speculation or anything. The only definitive answer we do have is that the best PCs in the universe come from Starforge. So if you're looking to get a better PC yourself, go to Starforge and check out the options, see if it feels right for you. But when it comes to the Steam machine itself, it feels like it's going to be made or broken by its price. 100%. More so than most things, I would say. Now, before I give my, Cro-Magnon-ass thoughts on this whole thing, I want to give you Linus explaining why he believes that there's probably not being subsidized through the Steam storefront this time around to get the price on the hardware lower.
They wouldn't say why, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's partially to avoid stepping on the margin opportunities of their potential partners for Steam games and Steam software, but also because they recognize that the Steam machine is a full-fledged PC, capable of being used as a full-fledged PC. There's no guarantee then that, say, a corporate purchase of 10,000 of these things would result in a single game sale. So they really do need to protect the sustainability of their hardware business.
That last theory there, that game theory from Linus, was very interesting to me and something that didn't cross my noodle naturally because I'm a fucking moron. About, there might not be game sales for a big bulk order. Like if a corporation orders a bunch of these puppies here, that's probably not going to lead to them buying any games through the storefront, thus it's kind of moot to be subsidized through it in that case. So they're looking to protect the hardware investment itself. But, counterpoint to that, if a corporation is looking to buy 10,000 of these, why wouldn't they just buy 10,000 cheaper MacBooks? Because there are some Macs that are priced in like the $600 to $700 ballpark, to my understanding, at least from what I can find online, which is around the price of some of the consoles out there right now, where this is not going to be priced at that. This will most likely be more expensive than that. So why would they choose this over those options? I feel like this might not be the go-to for corporations. So even though the thought process isn't wrong, like if corporations do buy this, they're probably not going to be buying a fucking bunch of games out the wazoo here. But I also feel like in that case, they probably wouldn't just be buying the Steam machine in the first place for those needs. They'd probably look for other already established corporate norms of like Macs or something. So to me, I feel like the main target audience for the Steam machine would be Steam Deck owners. I feel like that'd be the primary demographic here that would be interested in purchasing it. But if the Steam machine is north of 1,000 clams, who in their right mind, save for those that maybe had just recently got a lobotomy, would actually want to pay that much money for the Steam machine when you could instead just spend that money on a more powerful PC? Like, yes, this is a pretty powerful piece of hardware, but the options in this price range, if it actually is like 1,000 plus, like a lot of doom and gloom people are saying it's going to be, the options in that range are more powerful than what you would get from the Steam machine in the first place. So if it is in that ballpark, why would anyone be buying it? You know what I mean? And I do agree with the sentiment from a lot of people that it lives in a confusing limbo where it's a little unclear, a little muddy who the actual customer is supposed to be. Because if you are already a PC gamer, this doesn't really offer anything that you'd want. You probably already have a rig far more powerful than this in the first place. How would you justify spending what could be $1,000+ on basically a tiny pre-built PC? And if you are a console-only gamer, you don't have any Steam games, you bah humbug Steam, want nothing to do with it, you don't engage in the PC gaming market, well, then you'd probably write this off as dead on arrival, rolling your eyes at the price point if it is like $1,000. Like, that probably wouldn't be enticing for someone to make this foray into PC gaming through the Steam machine. It would need to be priced much lower, priced at like a competitive console point for a console-only gamer to consider. At least I would think so. So it is in this very weird gray area. Then I think it is going to be purely dependent on what the price actually is, whether or not this is going to be like mass market adoption or something like that. But maybe that's not even the goal here. Maybe that's not even what Valve's aiming for. Maybe they're content just delivering a really niche piece of hardware. I don't really know. I'm also not convinced it is going to be $1,000+. I don't subscribe to that idea. I truly believe that the Steam machine will be sub 1,000. On stream, I was speculating maybe up to like 800. Maybe 800 and some change. But I really don't see a world where this gets to 1,000 or over 1,000. I would be shocked if it did. Because I think it'd be very obvious to anybody out there that that is just too much for most people to want to spend on what the Steam machine is offering. At least I would think so. I say that, but then again, fucking Apple has the iPhone Pocket, which is like $250 sock to put your iPhone in, and that's sold out. So there really is just a chance for anything to be extremely successful regardless of the price and regardless of the offering. And it's not like the Steam machine is a bad product here, but I just think it is going to be really, really dependent on the price point here, whether or not this is something that gamers will be flocking to pick up. And I am just very curious to learn more information about how it will be priced. It releases relatively soon, so hopefully we'll know in the next, month or so. That'd be really nice. But yeah, it's been a very interesting conversation surrounding the Steam machine. Like I said, personally, I don't think it's getting to $1,000 or more. I really think it's going to live in like an $800 ballpark, which is still very expensive, and that's still going to be a very tough decision for consumers to make on if that is something they want to pay. So I guess we'll see. I think time will tell. Hopefully pretty soon we'll know. Anyway, that's really about it. So yeah, there's Useless, and then there's Pam Bondi. Cockroaches have more respect from people than Scam Bondi ever will. She's just been fired. Hallelujah, time to butt chug some brewskis in the bathtub tonight to celebrate this wonderful news. Pam Bondi famously shut down the conversation about Epstein, stating that we need to focus on the Dow because it's over 50K, stating that it's ridiculous to be talking about Epstein when the Dow's over 50K. That's what we need to focus on. And now look at us, Pam. Who could have seen this? Dow's under 50K and she lost her whole job. Ain't that some shit, huh? Man, when it rains, it pours. Pam Bondi's time as Attorney General will be looked back on with embarrassment and shame. They won't be hanging her jersey number in the rafters, celebrating her time in this position. She was fucking useless. More useless than my goofy areolas. There has never been anyone in the history of this country worse at their job than Pam Bondi. And I don't just mean from a government position, I mean across the entire spectrum of jobs that exists. There has never been a single soul that is more terrible at their job than Pam Bondi was as Attorney General. You could have given Attorney General to a fucking crackhead who's never lucid, and he probably would have accidentally stumbled into doing a couple of things. She did nothing. Literally Nothing. She accomplished less than a gas station toilet, yet she probably swallowed more shit than a toilet. And she did so proudly, without an ounce of shame or regret. It's so pathetic. I don't know how she sleeps at night. And apparently she even had the gall to like grovel and beg to not be fired because this means everything to her. She doesn't do anything. All she does is just lie and idly collect a paycheck while delivering lip service that is constantly contradictory and debasing herself in front of the entire nation with a chin held high. It is the most pathetic shit imaginable.
Good day. We are coming on the air with breaking news. President Trump has apparently fired his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, according to a senior administration official and a source familiar with the matter. This comes after NBC News learned that the president has grown frustrated with his Attorney General in recent days, according to multiple sources.
This is a blow because she has been a very loyal sort of friend and ally of the president for a long time, going back to Florida.
I love how the reporter struggled to find the words to adequately describe her relationship with Trump, because friend and ally, loyal, that doesn't even really encapsulate it. She was a leech, an actual parasite, a fucking hemorrhoid, a pinworm, living deep inside the asshole of President Trump, more than willing to just suck the farts straight out of his butt. Like that, she was so deep in there, and I know she never thought that she would be thrown under the bus because of this level of NPC behavior from her. She was a full-blown drone. I don't think she has had an actual thought of her own in years, because she is just on cruise control, idly just going through the motions and delivering speeches and just constantly lying about the Epstein files being on her desk, by the way, which they're probably still there. She's just got to go in there and dust it off when she's collecting her things and leaving the office forever. And now that she has been thrown under the bus here, I have to imagine she's just sitting there fucking drooling blankly like the parents from Weapons after the spell gets broken on them. Pam's probably just stunned, catatonic in like a fucking fugue state, not sure what to do with herself. She threw everything away. Literally became a complete clown in front of the entire world, and now it didn't pay off. She wasn't able to just endlessly coast off being this bot.
Assisting in the first Trump term. And this, in many ways, comes down to a representation of the frustration that President Trump has, that his vision for how he could exact retribution against political rivals and those who had, in his perception, done him wrong at some past point, to be brought to justice. That has not happened, even though this Department of Justice under Pam Bondi has attempted to do so in a number of areas where we've seen the failed attempts to prosecute James Comey or Letitia James.
Failure really is the only word that can appropriately describe Pam Bondi's entire career. Everything she has ever attempted to do here during her time as Attorney General has been a complete and utter failure. And now, the person that she was huffing farts like they were oxygen is throwing her to the side. Like, Woody, I no longer want to play with you. And now what, Pam? And now what?
Then there's the broader issue of the Epstein files. There was a moment where Pam Bondi, who in the journey of her time as Attorney General has been both loyal but has also committed some self-inflicted errors. She talked about having the so-called Epstein list on her desk, and that never materialized. She had led people to believe there would be more coming on Epstein, and then initially last summer, the Department of Justice said the files would be closed. There was no action to be taken.
And we're still currently in that circus whirlwind. Pam Bondi will always be mocked and looked at as the clown that she is. That being said, better late than never. I'm glad she is finally fired. That is wonderful news. Yes, it should have happened sooner, but it's still good that it's here now. Though I don't think her replacement is going to be a huge improvement. It's Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche is someone I've already shot spitballs at because this guy openly just talks about how there most likely will never be a further Epstein investigation into the clients. He also famously had that wonderful little segment where he said it's not a crime to party with Epstein.
Is there any chance that any of these individuals who partied with Epstein and engaged in relations with minors will be prosecuted?
Well,
Any
look,
chance?
I'll never say no, and we will always investigate any evidence of misconduct. But as you know, it is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein, and so as horrible as it's not a crime to email with Mr. Epstein. And some of these men may have done horrible things, and if we have evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But it's also the kind of thing that the American people need to understand, that it isn't a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. It isn't a crime to have
Didn't look
lunch
like
at
that's
his
all
island.
that was going on some of those photos. I mean, if the photos could speak, some of them look pretty bad.
That's right. And unfortunately, photos can't speak. And so
Yeah.
we need witnesses and we need
Are there
evidence.
videotapes that you all have? Or
For the millionth time, yes, there are videos. Also, Todd Blanche mentions the witnesses and stuff, but they don't really seem to want to talk to the victims overly often. That seems to be an area they're not super gung-ho about gathering information from the potential victims that have come forward. Todd Blanche is not someone I put a lot of faith in doing a better job as Attorney General, but I will say it would be hard for him to do a worse job than Pam Bondi. And he is not shy about just letting you know that they don't really plan on doing a whole lot with the Epstein case. There's another clip that he has become infamous for where he pretended he didn't understand the question when asked about like the abusers in the Epstein files, that kind of thing. So Todd Blanche, not exactly looking like a superstar to really start pumping your fist about, but doesn't mean we can't celebrate Pam Bondi being fired. But anyway, just wanted to yap about this and say, bye Pam, enjoy retirement. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya. I heard a name today that I haven't heard in many moons. Had me feeling like Robin Williams when he crawled out of Jumanji asking what year it is. That name? James Charles.
I just got a DM on here from a girl that said, "Good morning, James. I know you'll probably never see this, but if you could just take 1 minute to read it, would really mean a lot to me. I'm really struggling right now because Spirit Airlines just filed for bankruptcy and I have lost my job. Here's a GoFundMe link. Any donations help." I'm sure they do, sweetheart. I'm sure they do. You know what else would help you? Getting another job.
What a yucky douchebag. This is like cartoon villain level evil monologue here. Oh, no money, huh? No money? Bang! Shrink ray! Now you're short too, like that kind of thing. It's so over the top, stinking, oozing assholery. I cannot believe his delusional mind thought this was a good idea or like a strong look or a worthwhile dunk to be punching down on someone who's already fallen on hard times after losing their job. And they reached out to you in this desperate situation because clearly they have an appreciation of you. So they threw the Hail Mary, seeing what happens. I doubt they were expecting this kind of response. Now, of course, there is always the chance that it is fraudulent. There are so many fake GoFundMes out there, so there's always a chance that all of it is fucking fiddlesticks. It could all be baloney. I have no way of knowing that. I only have James Charles fucking Gangnam styling on this person and insulting them for it to go on, which leads me to believe that it might be real, because if it was just fake, obviously just a sham, why would he even be bothering to crash out for over 2 minutes about it? So I'm going to work under the assumption that this is a real person that has reached out about it. You could have just not responded. Like, that was also an option. You didn't need to come over here and start, like, spitting and dunking on him. Like, how dare you even message me asking for help? Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm James Charles, goddammit. And is there anything ickier than someone that has a job like James Charles telling someone else to get a job, preaching that they need to get a job? Brother, this former Spirit Airlines worker is a 10 times harder worker and has done 10 times as much labor as you ever have in your life. James Charles' entire career has been just farting out dog shit products and posting cringe videos, and he couldn't even do that without also trying to sext minors. So how dare you try and tell an actual hardworking American to go get a job as if you've done anything worthwhile and you've done like actual work. You got the easiest fucking job in life. You got dealt a very lucky hand, bro. This is so tasteless. It's so crude. Coming from James Charles of all people. So you've never been in a desperate financial situation. Great. Group hug in the shower tonight, James. Glad you've never gone through a financial struggle. This person is. And they desperately tried to reach out to you, and there's no obligation for you to try and, like, save them or anything. Obviously, there's no expectation of that, but they tried anyway because they're feeling in a rough spot. So they tried, and now you're insulting them and publicly trying to humiliate them for it. It's just so gross, bro.
Yeah, try that. Because in the time that it took you to copy and paste the same fuck-ass message to myself, who you don't follow, by the way, and probably 100 other influencers and celebrities, you could have applied for 100 other jobs, but you didn't because you're a lazy piece of shit and you're entitled. And you think that influencers and celebrities should fund your life for you. Why would I ever help you?
There's no way the word entitled just left his lips. Right? No, I must have misheard that. There's no way he said that. James Charles did. He didn't use that word against somebody else, did he? It had to be an audio glitch. I'm gonna assume that there's no way his vocal folds would even let the word entitled leave his lips. Oh my god, the lack of self-awareness would probably cause his fucking head to combust. So I'm not even gonna bother touching on that one. Holy. So let's instead look at the other stuff he said. He really highlighted that this person doesn't follow him. Who gives a fuck? There's plenty of people that I watch their stuff and engage in their content with without subscribing to them or following them on socials. That's pretty normal, actually. I don't know why he's, like, spiteful about that. So then he's using that to say, like, oh, you must have sent this to, like, 100 other celebrities. Based on what, man? You're just making an assumption. You're just taking a guess. You don't know that. You could be the only person they reached out to about it because they really admired you and thought that maybe you could be that helping hand. Which again, there's no obligation for him to do, but why go this hard against them? This is fucking diabolical. And you have no idea if they've sent out job applications or not. Why are you speaking as though you're certain they haven't? They very well could have 100 job applications out there right now. The Spirit airline layoffs are still pretty new. Getting a job right away is not like this, bro. I don't know how out of touch you are with reality and what's going on in the world around you. It doesn't happen lickety-split like that. So in the meantime, they are out income. And I imagine as a Spirit Airlines employee, they weren't rolling in dough, able to afford fucking mansions and stuff. They're probably wondering where next month's rent is going to come from in the meantime in between jobs. So they reached out to you in the interim. That would be my guess. You have no clue if they've sent out job applications. It takes a while.
You're not a fan. You don't even follow me. You've never supported me. This is your first time DMing. And you think that I'm going to send you money because you lost your job? Oh my God. Welcome to the real world, sweetheart. People lose their jobs every fucking day, and you're white, pretty, and able-bodied. You're in a much better position than a lot of other people out here who are trying clearly much harder to make a better life for themselves. Why would I fucking help you?
What is Dr. Doofenshmirtz even crashing out about at this point? He's having a conniption, blowing a gasket. Over what? What are you even yapping about? You're not even making a point anymore. You're trying to tell someone else how the real world functions when you yourself haven't been a member of the real world in like a fucking decade. You are so detached from the real world, yet you're over here lecturing them about it? It's absurd, bro. You couldn't write someone this out of touch and this unlikable. He's like the Starbucks CEO about the $9 coffee and the premium experience, but wrapped up in like an insufferable asshole influencer.
Aside from that, 17,000 people lost their jobs at Spirit Airlines. Why do you think you need the GoFundMe? I can at least like 1% respect the mentality of closed mouths don't get fed, doesn't hurt to try. But honestly, it does hurt to try because now you pissed me off. Okay, I'm not the one. Go find fucking Mr. Reese. This is literally his entire shtick. I'm sure the next YouTube video is literally going to be like, I rehired all 17,000 of the Spirit Airlines employees, and it's going to be the real life Hunger Games. The last one of them to leave the Spirit Airlines plane gets to be the CEO of the new company and gets a house and a car and $10 million that everybody else dies.
Stop trying to make jokes. Like, actually, just please stop trying to make jokes, James. Put the kibosh on it right now. It's miserable listening to him try and inject humor into anything. Why did it piss you off? How does that piss you off? Yeah, 17,000 people lost their jobs here, man. That's 17,000 people that are now out income. I imagine a lot of them are feeling very similar ways to the person that reached out to you. This person just decided to try. They decided to throw a Hail Mary. Again, you could have just ignored it. Why did it piss you off? That's a fucking you problem, man. That is a weird response to it.
Like, go find that video to compete in, baby. I'm not helping you. I'm not fucking helping you. All you did was lost your job, okay? Welcome to the real world. I can at least understand if you were like, James, I'm a longtime fan. Here's a trillion years of DMs and my support for you. I love you. I'm suffering with a really rare genetic disease that there is no cure for, and I'm trying to raise money for myself and other people that have this. Maybe I would help. Maybe I would help because I love you and I appreciate you. This bitch, you lost your fucking job? What are we gonna do? Nothing! I'm gonna do nothing. You know what you need to do? Go find a fucking new one, girl. Put some effort into the workplace.
Hey, pal. You just blow in from Stupid Town? He really thought he cooked with this rant. So the impression here is that the only people in the world he cares about are people that, like, mindlessly support him through thick and thin forever. Here's a trillion DMs. Okay, now I care about you. So maybe if you had, like, a genetic disease where you were dying and you were about to just kick the bucket, I might consider spitting on you if you were on fire. I might, because you've proven that you're a fan. And those are the only people I care about. Those are the only human beings to me, are the fans. Then I would have cared. By the way, worth reminding you, there's nothing that says that she wasn't a fan, by the way, James, just because she didn't follow you or DM you before. What an awful perspective to have on people, huh? Again, you could have just not said anything about it, but you decided to make a whole show. You decided to go fucking hog wild on it. And man, do you look like a clown talking about hard work in the real world, two things that you are not someone to be lecturing anyone on. You don't work hard, and you are not in the real world. And that's one of, like, the biggest things, like, points he tries to make here. Get real. This person is just in a desperate spot, as a lot of people are and have been. And in those positions, sometimes people try a Hail Mary. That's what they did here. It clearly didn't resonate with you in any way, and for some reason really brought the demon out of you, James, for some reason. But I don't think they did anything wrong. Again, you could have just not said anything about it. And you have no idea if they are applying for jobs. It rarely happens overnight, especially currently. So in the meantime, having no income is scary and detrimental to actual working people, James. Most average workers can't just coast off of poop they shat out years ago like you can, just collecting paychecks off of the trash that you've peddled over the years passively. So, in the meantime, they made this GoFundMe, they reached out to you, and then you had this ballistic response to it. And James did get dunked on for it, so he made an apology video.
This video was fucking stupid. It was rude, it was obnoxious, it was privileged, and most importantly, it was completely fucking unnecessary. When I saw that DM, I absolutely had the choice to ignore it and say absolutely nothing at all and move on with my day. But instead, I couldn't even tell you why. Her message just triggered me, and I decided instead to make a video about it.
Put a shirt on. You don't need to get into formal attire, not asking you to put a suit and tie on, but could you do the bare minimum of at least putting on clothes? Why are you filming this video half awake in your hotel bed after a night of binge drinking and meth smoking? Like, you couldn't just do at least a tad bit more? Why do I have to watch you shirtless here, fucking like sleepwalk through your response?
And I bashed her, and it was obnoxious, and I shamed her for asking for help in a situation where she was clearly really struggling, and this could have been her absolute last resort. I have no idea what was going on in her life, and I should have never assumed that she was just copying and pasting this DM as an easy way out. I don't know. I just don't know.
Ooh, I know. Pick me. I've got my hand raised. I know. It's because you are an egomaniac. It's because you are a self-centered, self-absorbed, narcissistic piece of shit, bro. That's why you did it. You thought that you were above this person, and you thought you could actually convince your audience that what they are doing is wrong and worthy of being shamed, and you tried to even spin it in a way like hard work, when you yourself are not the product of hard work. So you tried to puff out your chest about how much it takes to get back out there with the elbow grease, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, but the message falls flat because you, the messenger, are not that person. And you're also choosing someone who is going through a very real grievance, again, assuming all of this is a legitimate story and a legitimate person, which I have no reason to believe it's not, based on everything he's said. So, really, it was all a pile of dog shit, and you let your mask slip so people get to see even more about the real you, James. This is the real you.
My intention behind making this video in the first place was I get a lot of messages like this every single day. And for me personally, it definitely sucks to receive messages from people that don't follow you and don't support you, treating you like our personal ATM or bank account. But what I'm sure sucks even fucking more is not knowing where your next paycheck is coming from and not being sure whether or not you're going to be able to put food on the table for yourself and your family. So it really doesn't matter what my intentions were behind making the video, because it came across as super fucking privileged and like I was basically shaming anybody that's unemployed for not trying hard enough to get a job. And I feel awful because that wasn't my intention, and it really hurt a lot of people.
This is coming across very genuine here, James, as he's falling into slumber here. It feels like I'm watching a video of someone ODing. Why did you even film it like this, man? And also, I don't understand why it even upset him in the first place, and why he says it sucks that people, treat me like an ATM. I get these random messages from people that obviously don't know anything about me and are just trying to hose me for cash. Like, yeah, that happens. That's annoying if you see it, but I guarantee most of the messages go to his management. I guarantee James doesn't see the vast majority of those, like, fake, reaching out for money type things. It's not like a telemarketer call. Telemarketers get a direct line to you, they call you, then they treat you like a little piggy bank for their trash product, and you know what happens there? You hang up. Here, these messages go into the fucking void. You'd have to go out of your way to find these, like, spam, scam, like, fraudulent things. Like, I don't understand why he's making it seem like, oh, it's so hard being me, James Charles, where people reach out and they don't even care because they're asking me for money. Again, I don't think you see most of them, and the ones you do see, just ignore. Like, it takes, like, actual split seconds. If he was making a point like, friends and family are always reaching out to me just for cash, they treat me like I'm not even a human anymore, I'm just a cash ATM for them, then I'd get it, because yeah, that sucks, that's horrible. That's not what he's saying. It's so weird, like his view on it, at least to me, I think it's weird. I'll sum up the next section where he tries to like relate to the average worker, saying that he knows how hard it is in today's job market. I know people looking for a job and it sucks, getting ghosted and stuff like that. So now he's saying like, oh, I get it. It's super, I relate. That's now his big thing that he's saying in this section. And then he goes on to talk about how he recognizes that he got really lucky with his makeup tutorials, so now he's got the position he's in, and now in his position he needs to learn how to humble himself.
And for anybody that saw that video and was disappointed or upset with what I said, I am super sorry, especially to the woman from Spirit Airlines. I did try to look for her message earlier before making this video, and I couldn't find it. If you see this video and you want to get in touch, I would love to apologize to you directly and to help you out a little bit. But if you are not comfortable with that, I totally understand too. I really appreciate anybody that sent me a message or left a comment about this video today, letting me know how insensitive it was. I really needed to hear that.
I was giggling so hard. He's going on like, okay, I really want to help now. I tried to find her message, but I fucking banished to the Shadow Realm somewhere along the way. I really want to help. I've learned my lesson. And then there's a cut, and then he's got the blanket pulled over him. He's tucking himself into bed. Why? It's so fake. It's so unbelievably fake.
And I really need to think twice before I hit record and just start yapping on this account. I genuinely treat this spam page like I'm on FaceTime with you guys. I love to laugh and tell you stories and rant and scream at the camera and joke around with y'all, but sometimes I genuinely forget how many people are watching, and it was completely inappropriate to make a joke out of somebody just trying to provide for themselves and their family. That's definitely my bad.
What joke did you make, man? It was just insulting them. It was just berating them for having the gall to try and reach out to you in any capacity during a hard time. Where was the haha? I don't know why he's saying it like that. Like, I just, I love to rant, I love to yap, I love to laugh, I love to joke, and, well, I just forgot that so many people like me and watch me, and this one came across bad. I shouldn't have been joking about this one. But you weren't joking, you were just insulting this person. What are you talking about? And it wouldn't have changed even if you had, like, a fraction of the people watching. You'd still be an asshole. Yeah, it'd still be fucking weird to have that response to it. So yeah, that's the James Charles stuff going on in a nutshell. I haven't heard that name in a long time, and it popped up today, and I had to watch that. What a wacky fucking rant. Anyway, that's really about it. So, yeah. A few days back, Big Bubba Bill Clinton, as well as Hillary Clinton, were talking with a panel about the Epstein files and their involvement in it and the photos and what they all mean, giving their perspective on things. While not being formally accused of wrongdoing, they were there to try and explain their side, so they'd, spaghetti out a bunch of lore here, and that was really it. And not a whole lot's come from it outside of, clips, of, Hillary Clinton getting upset during it, and Bill Clinton in particular, who I really want to yap about, because he was giddy. He was like Howard Lutnick anytime Epstein's name gets brought up. He couldn't stop laughing and smiling, throughout the whole thing. And there's one particular moment that we went over on stream that I have just got to show you, because it is certified wackiness. This is actual bozo clown level insanity here. He goes through the Epstein files and some of the photos there he's scrapbooking. Now, apparently one of them was about a painting of him in a dress or something that he was giggling about. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but that's the speculation based off of what you can kind of see when he's turning one of the pages. But it is weird. And to me, it showcases just how little they actually give a fuck about the Epstein files. They treat it like a joke. Bill Clinton treating it like a joke. The entire fucking administration, Howard Lutnick in particular, actually busts a gut every time Epstein's name gets brought up. The powerful people know they're going to get away with it. And I really think this whole hearing is just a farce. I think this is just a little song and dance for the plebeians to enjoy. Look, we're doing something about Epstein files. Look, here's the Clintons. No, we're not actually accusing them of doing anything wrong, but we're pretending that we might. Even though the administration has reiterated multiple times to just drop it, move on, and that there probably won't be any real investigations henceforth. And Perjury Patel likes to keep lying about it out the wazoo till his whole anus falls out, till he full-blown prolapses on his lies. So I don't have a whole lot of faith in this, a committee here that was asking the Clintons questions. I think it's just a sham. I would love if they really did investigate them and everyone in the Epstein files, but I don't think that's coming, and based off of Bill Clinton's attitude here, I think they're also pretty confident that nothing like that's on the horizon anytime soon. Did you see the Did you see the clip of Bill Clinton smiling while looking at old Epstein photos while his lawyer was trying to take them away? Oh my god, yeah.
And for the record, what is happening in this photo?
He's smiling at me, looks like he's talking to me.
Can you describe the circumstances surrounding this photo?
Are you asking if he recalls the...
I do not. I have no idea.
You appear to be comfortable with Mr. Epstein in this photo. What do you disagree with?
I'm comfortable with a lot of people. I'm comfortable here. I'm not happy, but I'm comfortable. Let me see it.
Damn, they don't have the whole thing. So in the whole thing going up to this, he looked at it, he started smiling, his lawyer took it away, and he goes over with a big smile on his face. He's like, give me it, give me it, give me it. And then he reminisces. They're cutting out all the bits. It's so shameless. Just look at the way he follows it. It's like a dog when you take their toy and they're ready to play fetch. It's unbelievable. That's enough, Bill. No, wait. Stop. I was having fun. You wouldn't believe the story behind this one.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes remaining in the majority's first hour, so I just want to ask you some questions related to
crazy.
The crimes.
It's crazy.
Epstein and Miss Maxwell.
Unreal. Bill being nostalgic is crazy. I know, man. And his lawyer is like, okay, this, come on. That's enough. Those were the days, off face, yeah. Can I get a copy of that? The way he starts pointing at it actually makes me feel like he's asking for, can I check out some more of these? Okay. He's having so much fun. I think this is the happiest Bill Clinton has looked since he got the fucking Blowjoptimus Prime from Monica Lewinsky. This guy is glistening. He is radiant with glee going through these Epstein files. And I've seen some weird defense of this where people are claiming that the reason he's acting that way is because he's taken aback by the comical attempt to pin bad stuff on him with the Epstein files here. So he's not taking it seriously because they've done such a poor job. It's actually a galaxy brain chess maneuver from Bill Clinton here to show that he's not guilty. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This makes him look significantly more guilty, at least to me it does. And I imagine this probably is pretty poorly put together. I imagine they haphazardly threw this committee together without any real teeth or any real drive for justice, probably just as a way of trying to, like, appease the public, showing that there is movement on this front, since most sane, sensible people aren't dropping this. But what Bill Clinton's doing here doesn't show like he's not guilty. It shows that he doesn't take this seriously as if it's a big deal, when it is. The administration keeps trying to hammer home the point that you shouldn't care about this and that it's not a big deal and we need to move on, which I think is the most unhinged shit imaginable, because this deals with the largest sex trafficking operation in this country's history. Like, the abuse, the trafficking, the potential murder, of children at the hands of Epstein and Epstein's clients, and nobody has been arrested outside of Maxwell, who again gets to just go to a fucking summer camp instead of a prison because of this administration. Like, it's absurd. You should care about this. And then you have people like Bill Clinton here, who in front of this committee is now just giggling about it and looks like he can't wait to keep reminiscing going through these files. He's probably excited to get back in that chair to look at more photos. And even in the slightest, literal tiniest iota of a chance that Bill Clinton isn't guilty of any wrongdoing, the behavior that he's showcasing here, I think, is still completely unacceptable because of the severity of this case. This is a child sex trafficking operation that went on for so many years, implicating some of the most powerful people on the fucking planet, and nobody's taking it seriously in the government here. It's unbelievable. And Bill Clinton can't stop laughing about it. And people in the administration can't stop laughing about it. It's just crazy to me. And I don't know how anyone could watch this and defend it. Now, throughout the deposition, both Bill and Hillary maintain that they didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing sexual or anything like that ever happened. When Bill was pressed about some of the photos in the files, like him and Maxwell in a pool with an unidentified woman, he said, that was actually at a hotel, nothing sexual, nothing freaky, nothing weird. And I imagine that's where the investigation stops. I have no confidence, no faith in anyone actually pursuing real justice against the evil co-conspirators, the fucking heinous, vile monsters, the clients of Jeffrey Epstein. I don't believe anyone's actually going to seriously try and get anyone thrown in the slammer for it. I really do think this committee, this little hearing here, is just a performance. We asked Bill Clinton the hard-hitting questions, and then he said, that's a bunch of fiddlesticks. And we said, well, if Bill says so, we did all we could. Hands are tied. Because that's kind of been the whole attitude about it. That and making a mockery of it. A joke out of the Epstein files. Bill Clinton laughing about it. Administration constantly giggling about it. They're slapping their knee every time Epstein's name is brought up. It's fucking scary. It's so out of control, man. But anyway, I had to yap about this Bill Clinton clip in particular. There's actually a few moments like this throughout the whole thing, but that one's the most egregious, so that was the one that I wanted to show. That's the one I think most people have probably seen by now, too, because it's so ridiculous. But there are quite a few moments like that throughout there. They just don't last as long as this one did. He really got lost in his happy thoughts, reminiscing in his Epstein days, his glory days. Anyway, though, that's really about it. It's fucking sick stuff, man. Absolutely twisted. Alright, see ya. Well, would you look at that? You called me short, and you were right, but then you called me stupid, and you were right again. You were wrong, however, when you called me crazy for sounding the alarm on the mind control that the TikTok zombies are falling victim to. Companies have found a way to get inside, worm their way into people's brains like that alien from Men in Black, Orion's belt pulling the levers on that dude's body. These corporations have found a way to control TikTok users' spending habits, to have them spend oodles of clams on actual landfill slop. Products that I know they couldn't move and were probably squatting on so much inventory, panicking, wondering what the fuck they're going to do with it besides just bury it in a landfill somewhere. And then someone hatched the idea, probably after seeing the Labubu craze, what if we paid influencers to pretend to be hype about it? And this formula of companies sprinkling tiddlywinks of cash throughout a wide array of TikTokers' pockets in order to glaze and get people excited about literal garbage has proven to be a grand slam for these corporations that are peddling poop. It has sparked a fire that has become out of control, leading to a raging inferno of just brainless consume. Consume at all costs. Come hell or high water, go to Target and buy the thing.
Off and then ready?
Pink. Fuck this shit. 3, 2, 1.
This is the latest one with the mystery glitter dumplings because companies have figured out if there is a gotcha element or a blind box mystery element to it, people will go ballistic over it no matter what the fuck it is. Even something like this, which is just a absolutely terribly made squishy toy. In a lot of these videos, people will pick up their glitter dumpling and give it a squeeze to celebrate, which is the intended purpose, instantly blows up like a fucking grenade in their hand. This is not a product that a sane society would ordinarily be going ballistic over. This would be something you'd see at like the checkout kiosk and be like, maybe I could use this as like a little fidget toy, or maybe my kid will. And it'd just be something real quick, real cheap. You throw it on the counter, you don't think about it, and it ends up in a closet for 20 years. But because companies have wisened up to the spending habits of TikTok, where they realized what everyone else with eyes has realized, that people will buy anything if they think it will help them get views or fit in with what's popular at the time. So the little trend starts, and this is not organic by any means, but the little trend starts where you open the glitter dumpling and you turn your head and you either get a boring static color like green, or you get the super rare, super exciting glittery dumpling. And brands obviously want to elevate the intensity of it, so if you get one of the commons, you gotta scream, you have to go crazy, no, it's terrible. You have to convince your toddlers to say, fuck this, or shit, damn, that kind of stuff. You got to get them swearing because it's so intense. And if you get the glittery one, that's the best moment of your life. That's more important than marriage. Like, that is the biggest event that's ever happened in your life. And then people see that, they're like, okay, I'll participate in this. I'll go out and get fucking 50 of them, a whole pallet like that one girl there with the glitter. You could see like an entire box, a case of glitter dumplings as she's trying to get that pull for the sake of the TikTok. It's very clearly artificial. These companies have products like this, which is trash. And I imagine they've had it for a long time. This isn't a unique product. This is something that's existed since I was a kid, back in the Stone Ages, fucking 20 years ago. But back then, this was something you'd find at like an arcade where if you didn't get enough tickets to get the actual item you want, well, you'd get this and maybe a stick of gum. So these companies have squatted on shit like this for a long time, but they've found a way to repackage it using TikTok influencers, spreading out money and making a trend out of it that has just gone bonkers for them. Just being able to hawk this, of all things, and people buy it and convince themselves that it was fun and a good purchase. The ones that are unpaid, by the way, the actual like paid promotions of this, they don't give a fuck. It is obviously fake. It is part of the brand deal, but it convinces normal people to also participate as well in order to get some views, participate in the trend, feel included in it.
Okay, ready?
No, I got it.
This is the future of products. Like, I'm saying that genuinely. Every company is seeing this and has been seeing it and is leaning into it, and it's working extremely well. If it can work for something like a fucking terribly made squishy toy that blows up like half the time someone squishes it, it will work for anything. Again, this isn't some new toy or new invention only made possible in 2026. This has been around for decades, and it's something you couldn't give away for free. Nobody would want this. And everyone in these videos also most likely doesn't actually want it. They just want to participate in this hype train around it of like freaking out if you get the good one or being real mad and real steamed about getting the bad ones. It's not something they're going to use. Anyone that actually wants to use it probably can't even fucking find one at this point because it's selling so much to people on TikTok desperate for attention. But it's inevitably just going in the trash. And the people that are scalping it are also going to have their product inevitably end up in the trash. It's a great time to be a landfill, I'll tell you what. Your tummy's never running on empty. It is constantly being filled gluttonously with shit like this. Because once the scalpers can't move this product anymore, when the trend starts to peter out, no one's going to be buying it, at least not anywhere close to how they were, so they'll end up having to dump it. And this is just another example of how easily companies can control people's spending. All you have to do is convince them that this is like a fun trend to hop aboard, and they're willing to open up their wallet for it. Even for something as useless and stupid as fucking mystery dumpling. And this is far from an isolated case. In fact, I think there's an even better example, one that I covered recently, which is Neatos. Neatos are just colored shapes that are also just a little squishy fidget toy. There's nothing even gotcha-fied about it. The Neato you want, you get. You go to Target, they have the Neatos. It's not a blind box, it's not a mystery, there's not even a gotcha element. And yet, through the same means of just having some TikTok influencers hype it up like, Neatos, you gotta go get them, you need these in your life right now, you're a pussy, you're a loser, everyone hates you, you're ugly, you stink if you don't have Neatos. And through just like this hyping up of Neatos artificially, people then just started going out to Target and violently getting their hands on Neatos. I was covering brawls at Target over Neatos, people slitting each other's throats to get their hands on Neatos. And then scalpers found it, so then scalpers started flocking to it and getting pugilistic for Neatos. And now, Neatos have made oodles and oodles of cash, and they don't even have a gotcha element to it. So it's not even the mystery loot box element of it. It's just TikTok told me that this is hype and trendy, and well, I want to be part of this, so I'll go buy a bunch. It's that effect of like, you're not cool unless you pee your pants. You got to go out there and you got to get the thing TikTok's talking about. You got to go get it. And it works super well. And interestingly enough, in most cases, it appears to be really garbage toys that are actually made for sense that companies have likely been squatting on for years with no way, scratching their head trying to figure out how do we get rid of all of this. And now they found the answer. They found the solution through TikTok and artificially hyping things up and get people in a spending frenzy for it. There are some good products, though, that I've seen come from TikTok. Like, I know TikTok Shop is notorious for a lot of trash, but I actually have seen some good products, and I am aware that there are some companies that do actually use it to promote something positive, like an actual useful item that is like solid. So I know it does exist, but that's not the biggest thing that TikTok sellers are being utilized for. It's for shit like Neatos and mystery dumplings. Again, mystery dumplings fully leans into this. Their branding now is the viral mystery dumpling. Like, this is something they have clearly planned for. It was a calculated marketing push through TikTok to get people brainwashed into buying. And it's going to continue. It's working really well, showing no signs of slowing down. So expect more and more Neato adjacent and mystery dumpling adjacent and Labubu type products to be fucking blowing up here. Anyway, just wanted to yap about it. That's about it. See ya.